KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
9 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour, the man accused of shooting Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley University set to appear in court in a matter of minutes. Tyler Robinson's defense attorneys are trying to bar the media from seeing part of the upcoming preliminary hearing, as well as some pieces of evidence. Attorneys representing KSL and other media outlets have filed a motion opposing that request. This comes not even 2 weeks after the judge in the case denied the defense's request to ban cameras and microphones from the courtroom. An Ogden man will now spend 120 days in jail after he threw 6 puppies out of a car window at high speeds. Cindy Blanchard cared for the puppies and their mother after Memphis Lore threw them from his car. 2 of the puppies didn't survive.
It is hard because it's something they'll never, ever forget. It's something that still will haunt me for the rest of my life, I'm sure.
She tells KSL thinking about the event is still traumatizing to her. Lore was found guilty of 7 counts of animal torture. Davis County Animal Care Director says she believes this is justice and will send a message this kind of behavior is not tolerated in the county. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. People who were prosecuted for the January 6th attack at the U.S. Capitol could be eligible for some new funds. It comes after the government set up a fund to give money to people President Trump sees as those who were persecuted by the Biden administration. More from ABC News Chief Washington correspondent Jonathan Karl.
Although the president himself is not eligible under the agreement to receive any of the money directly, there appears to be nothing to prevent organizations tied to the president from receiving taxpayer funds under this agreement. It's going to all be controlled by a 5-person panel. That 5-person panel will be appointed by Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche, who, of course, is also President Trump's former personal attorney.
Democrats are calling the arrangement potentially illegal, and a top Treasury Department attorney resigned hours after the agreement was announced. Your money at this moment, Dow down 207 points to 49,478. Coming up, the warm weather just starts today and keeps going into the weekend. KSL Weather's next. KSL News Time, 9:02.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Warmer weather is finally here, and that means cookouts,
ball games,
and maybe enjoying some time on the water.
But it also means lots of heavy foods, sweets, and maybe an extra adult beverage or 2. Thank goodness we both take Active Liver from New Nordic. Did you know your liver works around the clock processing food, sugar, alcohol, and everyday toxins? All the things that can really impact your health.
That's why daily support matters. Active Liver is designed to protect normal liver function and support your body's natural detox process.
With trusted natural ingredients like milk thistle, turmeric, and artichoke extract, it's gentle enough to take all year long.
No harsh cleanses, no extreme detoxes, just simple daily liver support. We really feel the difference.
Active Liver helps us enjoy the good things in life with peace of mind that our liver isn't working overtime. Active Liver is available online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com, and you can find it in stores at CVS, Meijer Grocery, Wegmans, and now Active Liver is available at your local GNC.
A family office is a team built to handle the 3 biggest financial responsibilities a family faces: wealth management, tax strategy, and estate planning. Most firms only manage your investments and refer the rest out, hoping everyone stays aligned. At Trajan, we built something different. Your wealth, tax planning, and estate planning are handled together inside one firm under one roof. There's no guessing whether your CPA, advisor, and estate attorney are truly in sync, because our team works together every day on your behalf. When your financial life becomes more complex, your advice should become more coordinated, not more fragmented. One plan, one trusted team. Call Trajan today, 855-TRAJAN-1. That's 855-TRAJAN-1.
Trajan Wealth, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Additional services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures and accreditation at TrajanWealth.com.
Hyundai gives you America's best warranty on every new vehicle. It includes a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty, plus 24/7 roadside assistance. That's peace of mind from Hyundai. And these days, that's priceless.
Now, get the Hyundai Tucson for 0% APR for 60 months, plus 0 payments for 90 days. Visit your local Hyundai dealer. Offers end June 1st. Call 562-314-4603 for details.
I'm really interested to hear about how your parents talk to you at home, and how do you think they can kind of break through to you?
It's just to talk about it. It's just seriously it's going to be awkward at first. But if you keep repeating it over and over again, it's just going to feel natural.
Keep going, and soon we'll just be able to talk about it.
Talking about mental health with your teens is the power of we in action. Visit intermountainhealth.org/teen mental health.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at UCCU.com. Here's Cormac Bone.
Now that the crashes have cleared up in Farmington, the delays have really eased out quite a bit. It's just a little slow on southbound I-15 where West Davis Highway merges. And then again, normal delays from South 15 at North Salt Lake all the way down into downtown Salt Lake. Northbound I-15 delays still just as you come down the hill from the point of the mountain and approach Bangerter Highway. And then some scattered slowdowns from Midvale all the way up to 13th South. Arctic Spas, hot tubs, and swim spas with stores in Salt Lake, American Fork, and St. George. Comfort with multi-level seating, 100% massaging jets, and adjustable pillows. ArcticSpasUtah.com. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather. Today will be sunny, high in the mid-60s. A small storm will come in later this week, but it should clear up by the holidays, so no worries. Right now, it's sunny and 48 degrees in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at KSLNewsRadio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, the people behind the massive data center proposed for Box Elder County have now submitted another application for water rights. You recall, Holly, what happened after the first application?
They withdrew it after 5,000 comments in opposition.
Well, according to this new application, the water would come from an unnamed spring in Hansel Valley, which is where the source is, where the plot is, plot of 48,000 acre land. It's just southeast of that development, and all this is happening while a rumored candidate to be next Utah's governor says he's responsible for bringing the man, Kevin O'Leary, into the plans. Thank you for joining us this morning on Inside Sources. We are also watching this morning a hearing that started just minutes ago on the Tyler Robinson case in Utah County. As that case gets, when the judge is ready to enter his ruling, which could be within the next hour, we may break to that. But right now, we do want to go back to this seems to be almost daily update on the data center in Box Elder County.
So one of the things that opponents said when the initial water rights application was withdrawn is say they're just going to regroup, which they have, and they've reapplied. It's not exactly the same. In fact, it's quite a bit different for the acre feet of water that they're asking for.
Quite a bit smaller.
It's 11 instead of 1,900, which is significantly different, of course. But one of the things, again, that opponents are saying is, look, they're going to piecemeal this whole thing just by doing little bits here and there. And if you remember, as soon as they withdrew the application, then it was actually close to 6,000 comments in opposition. Those were all rendered moot. And so they're like, unless you're going to pay $15 every single time to oppose, 11 acre feet of water, thank you, then they have just kind of changed the conversation a little bit.
And it's literally 11 acre feet as opposed to 1,900 acre feet.
Yep.
It's not 1,100 to 1,900. It's 11 acre feet. Yeah, like you said. I had to check that, but you were exactly right. It's a much, much smaller water footprint than what they had before. But again, opponents of this are saying don't fall for it. This is just, like you say, baby steps, just the first step in the process.
I mean, certainly that's what people are worried about, is that this is like that water. It's just such a big deal. And I saw a news story just recently that there's a data center being proposed close to the Grand Canyon, and this has been underway for a little while, but it's getting a lot of attention because of water.
Yeah, and water is hardly anything we can give up in that region of the state. We're talking about northern Utah, Box Elder County, just north of Weber County, the Ogden area, and it's a big flat area just off the freeway as you get further north, almost to Idaho, sort of desert, cattle grazing land, not much there, including water. I mean, there's certainly no ponds or lakes there.
So one of the things that also happened yesterday is that a rendering, a drawing, right, of the proposed development was published. Actually, it wasn't yesterday. It happened at the end of the week. But an architectural publication, it depicts, I'm going to tell you, 60 data center buildings, 10 clustered at each of 6 sites, and then a 3,000-acre solar array in Hansel Valley.
Yeah, so solar array, I'm wondering if that means solar panels.
Yeah.
Because we hadn't
That's
heard,
what that means.
That's what I saw that too. So 10 different developments of 6 structures, or 6 of 10.
Yep.
Anyway, so 60 buildings and a solar array. So there is some renewable energy source that's being used besides
at least with these architectural drawings, right? And so, again, I think those are one of the things, too, when you talk about solar arrays in an area where there's already not a lot of water. Solar arrays, especially something that's a 3,000-acre solar array, that will raise the heat index in that area. It will.
Yeah, no question. 3,000 acres of solar, that's a lot. But, I mean, that certainly takes a lot less pressure off of the natural gas grid, which is what they were trying to take it from.
So they want to use natural gas for the first stage. That would generate 1 gigawatt of power. And then you have 30 data center buildings within the footprint of phase 1 with another 30 on phase 2. So I just say, one of the things that they're talking about with this is they want it to be poetic. It's a beautiful, poetic design of 60 buildings, says the O'Leary Digital CEO. So we want poetic design of these buildings.
You wonder, though, Holly, if they hadn't missed the boat, if they had come out of the chute with this particular drawing instead of the mega one, that caused all the concern and got, what you say, something like 5,000 protest letters. Maybe had they started small instead of started big, they wouldn't have faced the pressure that they've got. Because I don't know that this is going to change a lot of minds at this point.
Well, I think, look, there's just an ongoing series of conversations. And one of the other parts of the conversation is the air quality. And I know that there was an interview with DEQ, the Department of Environmental Quality in Utah, that said they will have to monitor for a year before they can even weigh in on whether they're going to approve this or not. So I'm just saying that the guy behind these drawings, he said, we want this to be the sexiest, coolest construction posting in America. It's a recruiting strategy. I mean, it's fine. I don't know that we had architectural drawings with the 40,000, but to say we're wanting 60 buildings and 30 of them in the first phase, well, that seems like a lot.
So one other thing, we've only got about a minute and a half left. We're learning that would-be gubernatorial candidate Jason Chaffetz has indicated that he's actually taking some credit for bringing the project here to Utah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he posted this on social media. He's been continuing to post, whether it's on X or Instagram or Facebook. But he says that he is fully supportive of the data center project in Box Elder County. And he was so impressed by the answers when he had some questions that he introduced the people behind the project, Stratos, to his friend Kevin O'Leary, who decided to move forward with the project.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised, given the pushback from the project, that anyone would jump in who is a political candidate and say, hey, this was my idea, or I had this, this is something I brought to Utah. Maybe with what happened recently with some of these changes that we're getting, the less water, the less power, the solar, the beautiful buildings, poetic buildings, that maybe it is a time to someone should take some credit for it. Maybe Chaffetz is trying to position himself as somebody who brought something big to Utah.
Yeah, and it's always interesting because it does seem like there are multiple people behind this push, even though a lot of people who are elected officials were not brought into the conversation until the very end. But yeah, former Congressman Jason Chaffetz says that he thinks it'll be a net positive for the state of Utah and that he is the one that brought Kevin O'Leary into the project.
Yeah, well, we'll follow that as we have been for the last couple of weeks and see where it goes and see what's new on that. I'm sure that we'll get more and more, especially this new water application. We're going to start getting some protests coming in again. We may be back to square one, but we'll at least get an update on where we are. Well,
Okay, well, you mentioned this at the top of the segment, but right now, the man accused of killing political activist Charlie Kirk is back in a courtroom. And coming up on Inside Sources, we're going to talk about Tyler Robinson's defense team and how they're fighting to keep certain record seals. And I have so many questions for you, Mr. Attorney, because I feel like we're now living Groundhog Day because I feel like we've been here before. We'll be right back.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. And let's face it, it's time to update the look of your home's exterior. When was that thing built? In the 50s, 70s, 90s, the 2000s? Well, it's looking like it. Faded siding, drafty windows, leaky gutters. It's time to take action now. RGS Exteriors has been taking Utah homes from drab to fab for over 5 generations. We only use the highest quality materials like James Hardy siding and gutter topper gutter covers. You will be blown away by how much different and better and awesome your house can look. Your neighbors will be jealous, your home value will go up, and most of all, you're going to love it. Everything we do comes with our industry-leading 10-year everything guarantee, so you can sleep like a baby, knowing if anything goes wrong, you're 100% covered. For a free estimate on your gutters, windows, siding, or anything on your outside of your home, call RGS Exteriors at 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsexteriorsutah.com. That's rgsexteriorsutah.com.
This year, Utahns are celebrating the 250th anniversary of our country, Utah style. Everything from Utah's red rock deserts and blue skies to our snowy peaks and canyons are worth celebrating. As America marks this historic anniversary, we invite you to honor the stories that ground us, the history of the people who came before us, and the places that shape us. Celebrating with Utah style means looking out for your neighbors, sharing a meal, working hard, dreaming, innovating, and finding connections with the people who make Utah, Utah. It's our land, our communities. It's our way of showing up for something bigger than ourselves. So raise a glass or a dirty soda and join us in celebrating our place in the American story. Find ways to celebrate and commemorate with your community this summer at america250.utah.gov.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to Markdowns for Miles at AutoZone.
Got any markdowns on brakes?
We mark Duralast brake pads down to free.
Free Duralast brake pads?
When you buy 2 rotors.
Can I get Duralast Gold pads for free?
With 2 Duralast Gold rotors, and there's a lifetime warranty on brake pads.
That's a huge markdown for so many miles.
Save on brakes and more during Markdowns for Miles at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
I'm Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox. Don't face the IRS alone.
I was self-employed, and I got behind on my taxes. And then 1 year became 2 years and 3 years, and $116,535.47 to be exact. It just became overwhelming. Finally, I went to another tax company, and they were more interested in how good they were than helping me. I heard about Jordan and talking to the other people who'd done and been in the same situations that I was in, and their tax problems seemed just like mine. And so I went to Jordan, and it was amazing. They were able to negotiate it down to $5,200, and life became wonderful to me.
Don't face the IRS alone. You need a tax attorney that's not afraid to fight for you. Visit endtaxworry.com to schedule your free consultation. That's endtaxworry.com.
I will be forever grateful.
Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness.
Everything to my back is dark.
High in the alpine wilderness.
The ridgeline is imposing the escarpments, the drops.
A place where survival, it's dark now, I have nothing, is never certain. In 2011, an Australian hiker vanished.
Did he really make a wrong turn, or did he decide that he was done?
You have done this walk too, but this is your backyard.
The mountains have decided to keep him.
Find and follow the podcast series Uinta Triangle, wherever you get your podcasts.
Inside Sources.
Well, arguments are proceeding right now in the 4th District Court in Utah County for the man accused of killing Charlie Kirk. Tyler Robinson and his team are arguing right now. There are a couple arguments that are going, and we're going to listen in for just a second. But one of the things they're arguing is whether or not and to what extent some information can be sealed from the preliminary hearing. But first of all, defense attorneys are arguing that one of the prosecutors should be held in contempt of court and sanctioned for information that he leaked when they were told not to talk about the case. Let's listen in for just a minute.
Media tour to do it because the media misinterpreted what we said in our motion to continue. Our motion to continue is accurate with respect to the ATF report. And I would also point out that it was Mr. Ballard, and this is an email from Mr. Ballard to us attached to Ms. Visser's declaration, which says that the state thinks that that ATF report should stay under seal because to publicly file it would be a violation of 3.6. It would be an end run, to quote Mr. Ballard, around Rule 3.6, because it would be filing in the public record a forensic report. Okay? So, but at some point in time, for some reason, the state decided that report should become public and everything should become public. And the court granted that motion. And so that ATF report became a public document. And so in a court filing, we accurately characterized what's in that ATF report in support of our motion to continue. The court is well aware that there has been a dispute about the FBI's desire to do destructive testing without documenting that testing or allowing one of our ballistic experts to observe the testing. And so that's sort of like sitting there. But that's why that ATF report was initially lodged with the court in camera until the state decided, or I should say privately, to use the appropriate Utah term, until the state decided that it wanted it to become a public record. Okay? So the other thing that I want to say, and I'm going to save a few minutes, is that the state tries to take refuge in the notion that because we've made public statements, albeit in court filings, about something that the state thinks has been mischaracterized, that they get to go out and talk to the media to correct things. And that is not what Rule 3.6 permits, and that is not what the Supreme Court in the Levitt situation and in the Baum litigation sanctions. If Mr. Ballard and his colleagues thought that we mischaracterized the ATF report, which we did not, but if that's what they really believed in good faith, they could have done at least three things. One, they could have filed something with this court, a judicial...
We're listening to the defense attorney arguing a motion before the judge to sanction the Utah County Attorney's Office. And what this relates to is this, Holly. An ATF report came out indicating that they could not conclusively tie the bullet fragment that was found that had killed Charlie Kirk to the gun that Tyler Robinson is alleged to have used, that there was inconclusive evidence. And the defense, somehow that ATF report came out, and all of a sudden we are getting all this information. It's not the right gun. It's
right.
It's not the gun. The prosecuting attorney, who was already under a seal, an order from the court not to talk about the case. Both sides have been told not to talk about the case. Did say, look, you're mischaracterizing the report. It doesn't say the bullet didn't come from the gun. The report says the bullet cannot be proven conclusively to have come from the gun. It can't be excluded either.
Right.
And, by the way, we've got a whole lot of other evidence. So the defense is saying, wait a minute, you're not supposed to talk about the strength of the case. And the prosecution is saying, we're only trying to clear up misinformation that was coming out. So there's two sides to this. But the bottom line is that both sides were told not to talk about the case. The prosecution did, but they're claiming they did so in response to some information that came out arguably from the defense.
Well, and that there were then some rampant conspiracy theories about the ballistics, and they felt like they had to set the record straight. And certainly that's the testimony right now that has already been given by Jeff Gray. Maybe testimony is not the right word, but those are statements from the county attorney saying we had to set the record straight. I mean, because so many conspiracy theories were flying around.
Yeah, and I think what the defense is saying is, well, that's why you have a preliminary hearing, is to set the record straight. And you can put your evidence evidence on, and the defense is saying, or the prosecution saying, yeah, that's right, we want to have a preliminary hearing, but you keep asking it to be continued. So they goes back and forth.
Right.
The prosecution is dying to get this case in front of a preliminary hearing so that the judge and the public can hear the evidence that they've got, so that they can show the world that they do have a good case and that these conspiracy theorists are out of bounds. The defense is saying, well, you only get one preliminary hearing, and we want to make sure we're prepared, and we're not prepared because we've got reams of documents we haven't sorted through yet, so we need more time. Meanwhile, these conspiracy theorists are sort of out there.
So let me ask you a question about the first part of it and to seal things, because I feel like we've had this conversation from the defense appearing in front of the judge. Like, it feels like every single time we hear about something in front of the judge, they're asking to close all or part of these hearings. And the judge has already ruled multiple times that we're going to have cameras in the courtroom and this is a public proceeding. So tell me what they're doing today.
Okay, so the media has weighed in on this one, and the media lawyers, including our own here from KSL, have weighed in and said, look, courtrooms in America are open to the public, and this should be open to the public. The defense has said the preliminary hearing should be closed. The judge said, no, we're not going to do that. You're right. That's been argued at least once, maybe twice. Now the defense is saying, okay, you got us. But if we could even just restrict some information that's going to come out in the preliminary. There are a couple of things that we think will be so inflammatory and so dangerous and make it so difficult for us to seat a fair jury that we want you to close the preliminary hearing on just a few specific issues. Now, we, of course, don't know what those are because that would blow their cover. So there's that they're going to argue
but
that
maybe
here.
The ballistics report.
Right. It could be. Yeah, exactly.
Could have been one.
It could be Tyler Robinson's statement. Who knows what it is? I don't even pretend to guess, although I just did. But and I was just a guess. But so the judge has said, hey, this is America. Courts are open to the public. And the defense is saying, okay, we understand the public's right to know. We understand the whole First Amendment thing. But our client also has the right to a fair trial and a fair public trial and to be able to get a fair jury who have not been biased by this release of information. So there's a balancing act that the judge has to go through. And there's a third crew of lawyers that I just mentioned, which are the media lawyers who are weighing in on this. The state's sort of sitting back going, hey, do what you think is best, Judge. We're just here to put on our case. So really this argument, when we get to that, may be argued by the media lawyers against the defense lawyers.
I was going to ask you, so they could show up in court today and they could argue in front of the judge.
Right, they may, or the state may make their argument for them. But the media is saying, look, if you close part of a hearing, the public's going to assume the worst, and you end up shooting yourself in the foot. You end up giving the public the perception that the defense is really, really, really trying to hide something. That doesn't help you. That doesn't help you as a defense attorney. So the preliminary hearing is still scheduled to come forward. I think it may be in June. It's been bumped a few times, not as long as the defense wanted, but longer than the state wanted. So neither side got what they wanted, which means the judge is probably doing a good job. And there will be a preliminary hearing held. And so what's going to happen today are two things. One, will this particular prosecutor be sanctioned? Will he be reprimanded? And of course, the defense is arguing you should just bump the whole prosecution team off the case, but
well, I think they already argued that.
Yeah, right,
and the judge is like, no.
No, that's not going to happen either. But they may be making that argument again. And second, what evidence when the preliminary hearing is held is actually going to be part of the public record, part of what we watch when the preliminary hearing is held.
And it seems to me like this is. It just takes a while. Like, this is not going to be something that's decided in the next 10 minutes.
Well, it's going to be something that's decided in the next hour probably, because the judge has given each side 30 minutes to argue their case, which
that's an hour.
It's 28 minutes after the hour. So the defense just finished theirs. The state is up giving theirs. Then I think there's going to be some time for rebuttal, so maybe an hour and a half. Then the judge can take a recess, 10 minutes to go decide what he's going to do. Then he'll come out and make a ruling. So that probably puts us at close to 11. We may get a decision before the end of this show. But we're certainly not going to get a decision before the end of this hour, I don't think. But the state attorney has now jumped up, and he's making the argument. It's probably not the same attorney that was being criticized for releasing the information, although I don't know. You can only see them from behind.
Yeah.
I can tell you who it's not. It's not Chad Grunander, the chief prosecutor on the case, but I can't tell who it is that's arguing. But nonetheless, it doesn't matter. And the judge will make a decision. He may sanction him. He may say, you guys don't ever do it again. But I don't think he's going to remove somebody from the case or throw out the case or something.
Well, why? I mean, we only have a few seconds left, but why was that ballistics report released then as public information if they didn't want somebody to respond?
Good question. And who released it and how was it released? I mean, that's a question. But somehow that information came out. The media went crazy. They have the wrong guy. Conspiracy theorists, all of which were silly. The state was trying to clear it up and may have violated a court ruling. Well, when we come back after the break, the Board of Higher Education is making changes to the way commencement speakers are selected at the state's public colleges and universities. It comes after controversy and very, very related to this specific thing we're hearing today at UVU's move to have Sharon McMahon speak, even though her speech was ultimately canceled because of outcry over comments she made about this very assassination that we're dealing with. We'll talk about that when we come back.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour: over 150 scientists from around the country are coming together asking lawmakers to protect the Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument. Right now, Representative Celeste Malloy and Senator Mike Lee are proposing a plan that would overturn the monument's land management plan and allow multi-use access to the land. The letter, signed by the scientists, say this could potentially wipe out public lands protections on a wider scale. The Utah County Sheriff's Office says they've been getting more reports of people entering the Dream Mine. It's actually private property on the south end of the county, and entering is considered trespassing. Any hikers who accidentally stumble upon the mine are being asked to use apps or the county's website to see property boundaries and make sure they're not trespassing. Violators could face citation and a court date. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. It's still a very active scene outside of the Islamic Center of San Diego. This is after 2 gunmen shot and killed 3 people. The security guard outside appeared to play a pivotal role in keeping the shooting from being much worse. ABC's Trevor Ault is in San Diego with the latest.
A post by the center identifying that security guard as Amin Abdullah. Police say his heroic actions likely saved lives. Sam Hamada's son was there at the school. He says Abdullah would have done anything to help the people inside.
He just had that kind of heart, and he always really cared.
Authorities say the attack was carried out by a 17-year-old and an 18-year-old. They opened fire at a landscaper, then down the street, who survived. The suspects then died in their vehicle from self-inflicted gunshot wounds. Sources say they had anti-Islamic writings with them.
The shooting is now being investigated as a hate crime. Your money at this moment: the Dow is down 237 points to 49,448. Coming up, we've got warm weather for the next several days into the weekend. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time, 9:32.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Last night we were finishing dinner and my wife said, "Hey, Skinny," and I thought, this is great music to my ears, because I've been on a diet for the last couple of weeks and I didn't know if she would notice. She knows I'm on the diet, of course, but I didn't know if she would notice the results, and she did. I was wearing a T-shirt and sweats, and she just said, "Man, you look so much better." So I was so happy to hear that, because I've been on Soda Diet Nutrition for about a month now. I think tomorrow will actually be my 6-week anniversary. Soda, SOTA Diet Nutrition. I hooked up with them a while ago and said, look, I need to lose some weight. It's not a lot. I set a goal between 25 and 30 pounds, and I'm about 2 pounds literally away from my target date. They said two pounds a week I'd lose. I've lost 23 pounds in 6 weeks. So way ahead of schedule, really close to my target goal. Not sure what I'm going to do when I get there, because they have this plan. It's all just food, no pills, no injections. I want to stay on the plan, and I want to stay at this weight that I'm going to be in just a minute, and just a day or two, I should say. It's been a great plan for me. It's been great for my wife. I'm happy that she thinks I look skinny. Join us for a short time to have results that last a lifetime. Soda, SOTA.
Since 1947, Whipple Service Champions has been Utah's most trusted name for heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical services. Got a high-priced repair bill from another company and you're just not sure about it? Call Whipple. Get a free, no-pressure estimate or bring us their quote for an honest second opinion. Totally free. Whipple Service Champions, Utah's first place for second opinions since 1947. Call 385-273-7167 for your free estimate today. 385-273-7167.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With a Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Earn an accredited MBA in as few as 16 months for about $21K at University of Maryland Global Campus. Explore 10 specializations, including finance, HR, cyber technology, and more. Plus, showcase the value of your MBA with a comprehensive learner record and digitally demonstrate in-demand skills and credentials to employers. No application fee if you apply by June 1st. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Shell.
Jeff Kaplan here. Got to tell you, the paint job looked great, and our friend Sue couldn't say enough good things about CertaPro painters. They were professional, zero drama. They cleaned up. The house looks amazing, and if you need your house painted, you should know that CertaPro makes it a worry-free experience, and they do it at the right price. CertaPro Painters has 70,000 five-star reviews. Local trusted professionals. Get a detailed free estimate at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. CertaPro.com. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big with construction loans at UCCU. Here's Cormac Bone.
Looking at some leftover I-15 delays. First northbound from 4500 south in Murray, reaching up to 13th south in Salt Lake. And then a little slow on southbound I-15 in the Warm Springs Road area, but otherwise a pretty good drive on I-15 through Utah and Davis counties. We are also seeing a crash in Salt Lake. This is on northbound I-215's west belt at the 201 interchange. They're out of traffic and in the left shoulder behind some traffic cones, so they're not causing any delays right now in that construction zone. The local service you can trust with the financial solutions you need. Cyprus Credit Union is there every step of the way. Learn more at cypruscu.com. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather today, sunny with a high in the mid-60s. A small storm will come in later this week, but should clear up by the holiday. Right now, it's 48 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, after all the controversy surrounding Utah Valley University's decision to have Sharon McMahon, who's known as America's government teacher, speak at their commencement, it prompted some changes in how graduation speakers are chosen, or will be chosen, for Utah's public colleges and universities. While McMahon ended up not speaking at this ceremony, the initial decision to have her speak prompted a lot of backlash from those on the right, a lot of people who said her comments about the murder of Charlie Kirk were divisive and inappropriate.
So I think looking at this in the broader context, right? So not just UVU, but part of the concern, of course, is, are you trying to avoid controversy? Because if you're trying to avoid somebody that speaks that you may have somebody that disagrees with them, then you're actually flying in the face of Utah law that says we should welcome diversity of viewpoints on college campuses. And what's so interesting about that is there was some legislation passed in 2024, and then there was some confusion, I think, about that. And then in 2026, earlier this year, they passed some new legislation to clarify that we're not trying to censor guest speakers. We're not trying to discourage guest speakers to come, that they should be able to come and talk about what they want, and that schools should be encouraged to represent diverse viewpoints. Sharon, I don't think, I don't personally, I didn't find her comments that controversial after Charlie Kirk was killed.
Right. She was critical of it.
So she said every comment she made was, this was terrible. This never should have happened. There were comments. I think you need to understand that some of the comments he made have been hurtful to other people, but she condemned the killing, right? But she also has responded several times since they canceled her commencement speech. One is she had her entire speech published in the Salt Lake Tribune, and it's not controversial.
Yeah.
Right? It's aspirational and optimistic for students, right? To go out and she talked about joy. And anyway, she said she was canceled when politicians weighed in and wanted her canceled.
Yeah. And it was sad in a lot of respects, because I think she would have been very interesting, even given that backdrop. But now there's going to be some change in how we're dealing with that. I think it was Senate Bill 295, Intellectual Diversity in Education and Government, passed in the last legislative session, which allows or provides that you actually have a public comment period when you're considering commencement speakers, which seems like such a hassle.
And that each board of trustees for each university, public university and college, will have to have a process where they name the speaker that they're considering, that it is done in an open and public meeting, and that they have a chance for public input. But again, my concern is, are we only going to pick people who make us feel good and they don't say anything that would rile people up? I mean, look at the commencement speeches we've talked about around the country where people are booing people talking about AI.
And
so it wasn't
that's
just
fun.
Florida, but it was
right.
Google.
Right.
Google's one of the former chiefs of Google was booed when he was praising AI, right? I mean, so at what point do you say we're only going to have people who will pat you on the back and make you feel good?
Right.
That's my concern.
If you're doing a commencement speech this year, I don't care where you are, don't say the
AI.
future, the future of the
AI.
world is AI, especially to kids who are getting out of college thinking that's the future of taking my job away from me.
So look, Sharon McMahon has defended herself, and she said he defended Charlie. Speaking of Charlie Kirk, she used direct quotes from Charlie Kirk, and then he also said those were words that he defended. The right to have free speech, right, gave him the right to speak. And she pointed out, and I think rightly so, that he probably would not have agreed with UVU's decision to cancel Sharon's speech.
I was going to say the same thing. I'll bet if Charlie Kirk were alive today, he would say, bring it on. I want to hear from her. Let her speak. That's what it's all about. And he would have gladly given a counter speech at some point. You know, appeared on the campus later on.
And she said this, and I think Charlie emphasized this also. Either free speech is for everyone or it's for no one. Agreeable speech only is not free speech.
Yeah, so we're going to have milquetoast speakers, which is
potentially.
Well,
I
mean, I'm sure there will be good ones, and maybe we'll loosen up a little bit. And maybe you just go through the process, and you have a public comment period. You find out where the wind's blowing. The board of directors of each board of trustees from each of the universities sit down and say, okay, we're going to get a little backlash on this one, but I think it's worth it. It'll bring some people out. Let's vote them in. So hopefully it doesn't.
She wasn't the only one, right? And it's not just commencement speeches, but speakers too. I remember back in the day when Michael Moore came to UVU, and there were protests there. We've talked about Wendy Watson Nelson, who is the widow now, but was the spouse of church president Russell M. Nelson. She was invited to speak, and there was a protest there about her and some of her stances. I mean, protests are not new, and yet these speakers, except for Sharon, still came.
Yeah. And then you've also got the whole violence that has sort of taken over the American psyche in ways that are never thought possible, that it's okay to strike out, to be angry, to be violent.
Well, and to threaten, right? And to threaten people. So she said, Sharon McMahon, and she's not the only one, of course, received numerous death threats after she was announced as the commencement speaker. Right. And ultimately, at least the reason given, although she disagrees with this, was that her safety was in danger. And Erica Kirk, if you remember, Charlie Kirk's widow, canceled a speaking engagement because she was receiving death threats and she didn't feel safe.
Which is just silliness. And I think Sharon McMahon would have had a speech where Charlie Kirk's name and the event wouldn't have even come up. I don't know that it even had anything to do with what she would have talked about.
No, it didn't. And it was, I think, anyway, it was a decent speech. In fact, it was a really good speech. But again, now we have USHE, the Utah System of Higher Education, has said, okay, look, well, we don't want to have that happen again. And so now we're going to put this up to a vote. All commencement speakers will have to be voted on in a public meeting.
Yeah, so. It's too bad because that's a forum, colleges and universities, where you could have a speaker who's far to the right, far to the left, opinions that you don't necessarily like, because it's a college, it's commencement. It's as long as it's got a message for graduates. I mean, I think you should be able to get all sides. That's what the college experience is about.
So anyway, that's news that is, that's new news. When we come back, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is reporting historic increases in the number of convert baptisms, and they just released a new video giving us an inside look at how missionaries are trained. Stay with us when we talk about the MTC experience.
I'm Christian Staples with Arctic Spas. Ever wonder why I say Arctic Spa, the only spa built for Utah's harsh climate? Well, we are the world's most northern manufacturer of spas, and we are built for the cold climates. We are just more heavy duty. It is commercial grade, but built for your house. We use fiberglass instead of ABS plastic. We use thicker, stronger, better insulating covers. We use our heat lock insulation to utilize the excess heat from the motors to help heat the water and protect the equipment. Arctic Spas are designed to last longer and be less expensive for you over the long term. Arctic Spas are known for their water care automation with our automatic saltwater system and our automatic pH control. We have it, no one else does. This makes it easier and more enjoyable for you to own an Arctic Spa. Find the perfect Arctic Spa for you at arcticspasutah.com or visit any of our 3 stores covering all of Utah in Salt Lake, American Fork, and St. George. That's why we say Arctic Spa, the only spa built for Utah's harsh climate.
Primary Children's Hospital has given so much to Utah kids and needs your help to keep the healing going strong.
It's always very welcoming, and just knowing that I have people there that are gonna help me and be with me like every step of the way, people I can trust.
Listen to KSL News Radio on Thursday, June 4th to hear inspiring stories from children and their families as they receive world-class care at this incredible hospital.
Once we got here, we knew okay, Max is gonna be okay.
Donate now by visiting kslkids.com or text the word SMILE to 57500. Brought to you by J&J Garden Center and the Utah Hyundai dealers. On behalf of all of us at KSL News Radio, we thank you.
Is it time for a gut check? If the recent volatility in the markets had you logging into your accounts, spending hours researching the economy, and tossing and turning all night, then maybe it's time for a change. What's your gut tell you? Does it want you to bury your head in the sand, or to get serious about creating a plan that can help preserve what you've saved? Capital Wealth is here to help you navigate the overwhelming world of retirement accounts. Call the Capital Wealth team today so you don't miss an opportunity to get your questions answered. 801-210-5500. That's 801-210-5500. No one knows when the next market drop will happen, so call Capital Wealth now to get started preserving your hard-earned money. 801-210-5500. Advisory services offered through Capital Wealth Advisors, LLC, a state of Utah registered investment advisor.
If your water heater's over 10 to 15 years old, congratulations. You've beat the average. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and I love hearing stories of people having water heaters that are really old and they're still doing their job. Unfortunately, most of us won't be that lucky. And when water heaters fail, it's usually in spectacularly inconvenient fashion. Whether it's an unexpected cold shower when we're already running late for work, or worse yet, coming home to a flooded basement, it's never fun. If you'd like to look into replacing your water heater before it fails, Any Hour Services is having a sale for any homeowners listening. Whether you're looking for a new tanked water heater or you want to see what upgrading to a tankless would cost, the plumbers at Any Hour Services can show you what options are available. And right now, you can save $400 on a tanked water heater or $1,200 on a tankless. If you think you might be interested, call Any Hour Services today and schedule your free estimate. 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Support comes from Amazon Business. You can't rely on guesswork to run your business. With Smart Business Buying, innovative AI tools optimize your purchasing experience, paired with delivery options built for business. Empower your team today. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
And expanded Inside Sources.
So, one of the things that our family has experienced is sending kids off on missions, boys, and they had an experience in the Missionary Training Center. Well, some of them, because some of them were service missionaries. But the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is really, I think, accelerating in their mission of missionary work. They had a record number of convert baptisms last year, but they also are giving us kind of a behind-the-scenes tour of the Missionary Training Center from the day somebody got their call to going into the Missionary Training Center, also called MTC, and then their experience in the center and then leaving. So we do have a little sound from the video that the church just released.
We'll begin with brand new missionaries arriving on their very first day. Then we'll see what it's actually like to be a missionary here. And finally, we'll follow missionaries as they leave the MTC and head into the mission field. The question is, will they really be ready? Let's find out.
Interesting. We're joined in studio this morning by Sarah Jane Weaver, editor of the Deseret News and former editor of their church news. Sarah, this seems like a little bit of a opening, a little bit of information we're not used to from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Yeah, well, the Missionary Training Center, and the church has 11 throughout the world, but the one in Provo, where this video was featured, is the church's largest. And they opened the doors to Danner Gerald. He's an actor and a convert to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and said, hey, let's give people a glimpse inside. It's not that the MTC has been secret, that anything inside was something that the church didn't want people to see. It's just that it's kind of a well-oiled machine, and they didn't want to disrupt the work that was going on there. And yet they said, let's do this social media style, and it's kind of delightful. The mic the host uses is the kind of mic that you see often by social media influencers, and they gave him free rein, and he talked to missionaries, and he ate at the cafeteria, and it does offer a glimpse inside that very interesting facility.
I watched it, and it made me a little emotional just because I was a mom sending kids off. Also, I had a mission call, but I got married instead. But I remember, and I might put you on the spot here, but I remember a time where parents went in, or family members went in with the missionary, and there was this like welcome video. When did that change?
And so that has changed in recent years, as certain things have required people to change the processes. Certainly things changed during the pandemic. Before that, some heightened security changed the way we drop missionaries off. So when my twin brother served a mission in 1990, the whole family went in, sat down.
Sat there and cried.
But it is interesting because while things continually change in the Missionary Training Center, there's so many things that stay the same. When I was a student at Brigham Young University, I worked in the cafeteria, and the things that I see now there feel just the same. Last year, more than 40,000 missionaries went through that facility. Many of them learned languages. And they're young and they like to have fun, and yet they're also serving a mission in a place they do not choose at their own expense. Yeah. And so there's a level of commitment and dedication that you don't see in young people that age in very many other places.
Sarah, how would you describe the mood of this video? Because the music that we just heard was very upbeat. It was hardly solemn. I mean, you know what I mean? It seemed like it was fast-paced and upbeat and exciting. And I mean, is that what this video is?
Yeah, there are faster cuts on this video than you normally see in Latter-day Saint videos. It is clearly made for audiences of all ages because it moves fast, it's upbeat. And then you just hear from lots and lots of young people who explain what they're doing, why they're doing it, how they're doing it, and you get a really interesting view of what life is like at the Missionary Training Center.
So I know that we also have had, unfortunately, some tragic news where the executive director of the missionary department recently died. I think you mentioned to me during the break that his funeral is today. Could you talk to us about the influence from Elder Bassett, Mark Bassett?
Yeah, so Elder W. Mark Bassett has been a general authority since 2016, and he has led missionary efforts at a time when convert baptisms that are at a high under his leadership. The age, President Dallin H. Oaks changed the age for women to serve missions, so you're seeing a surge in especially young women entering missionary service, and there are so many important things that have happened. Lots of times people are saying, wow, this is a time when young people are leaving faith. And yet in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we're seeing higher commitment levels of young people with more missionaries serving before than any other time, except for a time more than a decade ago when they changed the missionary age again. And then you had multiple years of missionaries kind of converging all at once and serving at the same time. So you have record number of missionaries, record number of converts, and an energy that spread across the world. And much of that was due to the leadership of Elder Bassett. And I think that the church today mourns his passing. He died on Mother's Day weekend while he was in St. George with his family.
And you talked to us at the break before we started, Sarah, about the number of new converts in the church from 2025. I think it was over 250,000 new converts, and a large number of new missions that are being opened right now.
Yeah, so in 2025 there were 490 convert baptisms into the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and you are seeing record number of missionaries also engaging in missionary service to accommodate that growth. 55 new missions were created and will open on July 1st of this year.
That's a lot. That's a lot. So let me ask you just a little bit about a Harvard study about global flourishing, and tell me about that and its relationship to faith.
Yeah, the Harvard Global Flourishing Study, and this is a very rigorous study done around the world. The Deseret News did an article that acknowledged all of the world stats, but mostly focused on the United States, where our audience is mostly located. And the gist of this study is that they found that they were measuring people's happiness, contentment, and they found that people of faith have higher levels of flourishing. They have higher levels of contentment, and that correlates often with how often they attend church meetings. And so the more engaged you are in your faith, the more likely you are to report that you are flourishing or happy. And I think that's an interesting statistic, especially at a time when the conventional wisdom is that people are leaving faith in masses.
It wasn't related to a specific religion or church, the Harvard study, but I don't think, was it?
No.
But it certainly helps understand the numbers that you've talked about in converts, because people are at a time in our world's history when that flourishing, where that contentment, that joy is important, and going to church and attending church service is one way to satisfy that.
Yeah, it was interesting. They did some research where they asked people what faith they're associated with. And so you could see how members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, for example, stacked up against other religions. And the most interesting things for me were things like 7% of people of high faith reported being depressed. Now, that number was more than double for those who reported no faith tradition at all. That was less than double.
Right.
It was
half.
Yeah, thank you for that. It was half of people who reported no faith tradition. And so there is something to people's contentment when they feel like they have some sort of accountability to some sort of God.
Okay, well, I want to thank you for joining us because we just run out of time so quickly. But one last, I guess, thought is, do you anticipate personally that this level of missionary work is going to continue?
Oh, I absolutely see great levels of commitment from young members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And in this very cute video, they ask them why they were there. And they didn't say, my parents made me, or I have to do this. Again, they're there at their own expense, and they're excited, and there's energy, and it comes across in this very delightful video.
Thanks for joining us this morning. I don't know anyone that attended the MTC that didn't enjoy that particular experience. When we come back in the next hour, changes to medical cannabis on the federal level have led Utah lawmakers to discuss potential changes on the state level. Let's have a conversation about medical marijuana when we come back.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. Our top story this hour: the state will get to play a bigger role in the upcoming FIFA World Cup than we originally thought. BYU is going to host some tune-up matches for the Korean men's national team. BYU will host 2 matches at Southfield, with the first on May 30th, where Korea will take on Trinidad and Tobago. The second will be on June 3rd, where South Korea plays El Salvador. Tickets for the matches go on sale this afternoon. Our top national story this hour from ABC News: health officials around the world are monitoring an outbreak of a rare strain of Ebola in Africa.
Right now, health officials say there are no positive Ebola cases here on U.S. soil. However, the CDC is working with the State Department and global health partners in order to potentially evacuate American citizens overseas who have been exposed to the virus.
ABC's Faith Abube reporting from CDC headquarters. 6 states have primary elections today, and there's a tense race for governor in Idaho. Mark Fitzpatrick is considered to be the biggest challenger to current Governor Brad Little. But Fitzpatrick has been facing criticism for critical comments he made about the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints the day after a shooting and fire at a church building in Michigan. He later tried clarifying, saying he does not hate the church or its members, but added that love does not equate to support. Your money at this moment: the Dow down 222 points to 49,463. Coming up, one more cool day before it really starts warming up. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time, 10:01.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Wednesday on KSL. Sometimes you find yourself on the wrong side of someone's bad intentions.
Hey, why'd you steal my package? Why'd you steal it?
Sometimes the court orders them to pay you back.
The total damages was $109,000.
How often are victims actually made whole?
At the end of the day, she paid $20,000.
A decade later, I'm going to let you know how much restitution I got and what it takes to get it. Why'd you steal my package? Pay back. Wednesday at 10.
Warmer weather is finally here, and that means cookouts,
ball games,
and maybe enjoying some time on the water.
But it also means lots of heavy food, sweets, and maybe an extra adult beverage or two. Thank goodness we both take Active Liver from New Nordic. Did you know your liver works around the clock, processing food, sugar, alcohol, and everyday toxins? All the things that can really impact your health.
That's why daily support matters. Active Liver is designed to protect normal liver function and support your body's natural detox process.
With trusted natural ingredients like milk thistle, turmeric, and artichoke extract, it's gentle enough to take all year long.
No harsh cleanses, no extreme detoxes, just simple daily liver support. We really feel the difference.
Active Liver helps us enjoy the good things in life with peace of mind that our liver isn't working overtime. Active Liver is available online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com, and you can find it in stores at CVS, Meijer Grocery, Wegmans, and now Active Liver is available at your local GNC.
Let me ask you a question. You have a best friend? How big would it shock you if somebody told you that your best friend just killed somebody?
911, what's your emergency?
Someone on the other line said they kidnapped my son and they're demanding $500,000.
I've asked myself so many times, what in the world happened?
Ransom is available now. Listen at ransompodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by UCCU. You deserve to love where you bank. Here's Cormac Bone.
Southbound I-15 still seeing some heavy delays from the north interchange down past Warm Springs Road. That's due to a crash that is out of traffic and in the right shoulder, but just letting those normal morning delays last a little further into the morning than usual. Otherwise, roadways looking really clear. No delays on I-15 through Utah and Davis and Weber counties. We are seeing normal slowdowns on both directions of the 201 freeway in Magna from 4800 west over to 7200 west. Some light and scattered delays there. And the construction zones in Lehigh, eastbound Pioneer Crossing, and 2100 north seeing some light and scattered delays as well. While you're planning your day, plan for comfort too with the Good Feet store. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, a high of 64 degrees today, and that's the coldest of the next 7, and it only goes up from here, basically. 70 tomorrow, then a small chance for rain on Thursday when temperatures dip back to 67. Then it's going to be in the 80s by Memorial Day weekend. Right now it's sunny and 54 degrees in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, Utah lawmakers are headed up to Capitol Hill this week for the first interim session since the legislative general session ended in March, just 2 months ago. And among the things being discussed tonight is medical cannabis here in Utah. You'll recall that the federal government changed its scheduling for state-issued medical marijuana last month, and now the state has to look at its own laws to see how that will affect things here. But I want to ask you before we get there, a special session this soon after the general session, interim session, I guess.
That's normal.
Okay,
it's not a special session. So there's 6 a year, 6 interim sessions, and they take.
They're scheduled already, or at least.
Yeah, that's right. So they take April off because they conclude in March, and then they just take the next month off, and then they will have interim sessions in May and June, skip July, August, September, October, November, and then skip December, and then start the regular session in January.
And does the session sort of depend on what's on the agenda in terms of its length and
the interim session, you mean?
The
yeah, kind of. I mean, every legislator prioritizes what they want to talk about during the interim session. And one of the things that you'll see tomorrow, which is when the bulk of the meetings will be held, is that they'll talk about what will be on the agenda during the interim. And so some of what's on each agenda through these 6 interim sessions will be like agencies have to come and report. They have to give an interim report to legislative committees, for example. And the way the committees are structured, and the one that we're talking about right now is a working group, which is a little different, but the way the committees are structured is they have members from both houses, both the House and the Senate, and from both parties. And so you'll have a set of meetings in the morning, and then you'll have a set of meetings in the afternoon, and each legislator's on 2 committees.
Okay, and what we're talking about today, actually this evening at 5 o'clock at the Capitol Building, room 120 of the Senate building, is this medical cannabis governance structure working group to discuss, well, there's quite a bit on the agenda, but it deals with Utah's medical cannabis law and where we are with it.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you about the federal law, how they changed the schedule on that. How is that impacting Utah, do you think?
Well, I'll tell you a couple things that come out first and foremost. One is taxing these pharmacies.
Sure.
We
Okay.
The federal government said, wait a minute, it's illegal. We can't tax it. So now they come under the auspices. Now they can. And actually, I think their tax rate is somewhat less now because it's a legal enterprise. Another thing is banking. Federally insured banking institutions were uncomfortable setting up accounts for these groups because arguably they're violating federal law. So now they're more, I won't say mainstream, but they're more mainstream. You know, they bank, they pay taxes, and so the federal law gave some credibility to medical cannabis pharmacies, which were set up under Utah's law that they didn't have before because they're now under the umbrella of federal law that governs those.
Right, and so the federal change in scheduling didn't legalize recreational marijuana. What did it do?
It legalized medical marijuana research and pharmacies and doctors who could prescribe it, and to look at what's going on, to take a look at what we're doing with medical marijuana. It doesn't make what we're doing in Utah legal under federal law yet, but it brings us closer to that because it's
a controlled substance,
right? But now it can be used for research purposes, whereas before it couldn't.
Okay, so on the agenda today, this afternoon, with this medical cannabis working group, there's a discussion on medical cannabis advertising. So what is the law about that right now?
Okay, so the law right now is this, that there are sort of three groups in the medical cannabis community. One are the pharmacies, the other is the manufacturers of their marijuana, and the third is the prescribers, the doctors. So I'll just go in that same order. Pharmacies can advertise, but they can't like glorify it or talk about recreational use or something like that. They can advertise when they're open, that they can home delivery, things like that. Just very basics. They can't talk about that marijuana has any treatment or curing capabilities. They can't talk about if you have certain conditions, you can go see a doctor for marijuana, and you can't talk about FDA approval or anything like that unless you have it. So they're very limited on what they can advertise.
Okay.
The manufacturers, the people that are making the marijuana, can't advertise at all. They're completely barred, and that's the same as it has been. But what's interesting are the doctors, and I think this is one thing they're going to talk about. How can a doctor let the world know that he or she can prescribe marijuana?
Mm-hmm.
Right now, what they say is, let's say marijuana can help with seizures disorder or something like that.
Sure.
A doctor can say, I treat seizure disorder. And so you might think, oh, then maybe he or she can prescribe marijuana. You know what I mean?
Right, you have to infer.
Right, you have to infer. So that may be loosened up a little bit so that people can more readily find doctors who can do that. So, we see billboards out there that talk about discrete cannabis, but it doesn't talk about, our stuff is the best, or we get from, we get higher with us than you would with someone else.
Oh my gosh.
Which would be ridiculous. You know what I mean?
It's not recreational.
Right.
Say that again.
Yes, right. So they just have to be very to the facts only. Just lay out the facts.
Okay, so one of the other issues on the agenda, and I really don't know anything about this, so they're having a discussion about people on probation or parole and medical cannabis. So what is that about? Do you know, or what do you think it is?
So obviously, if you're on probation and parole, back in the day, before 2018, when this law was passed, you couldn't smoke marijuana.
Right.
Because it was
Exactly.
illegal.
Right.
You'd be violating the law. So now their question is, okay, now that the feds have made it somewhat legal, can you now smoke or not? You can't smoke, by the way. Utah law does not allow smoking. It's taken internally. But can you consume cannabis, marijuana, if you're on probation or parole? And the rule seems to be, with just an exception that I'll mention in just a minute, that it's treated like any other prescription medication. In other words, if you have a prescription for, whatever blood pressure medication, and you're on probation, you can take it. If you have a prescription for marijuana, you can take it, except if you're in a drug court or a medical, So and the same would be true if you're on opioids. If you want to go through drug court and you're taking significant pain medication like opioids, they're going to say either get off the opioids or don't enter drug court, because we're going to test you every week, and that's a controlled substance that we want to get you off.
Show up. Yeah.
So medical marijuana is going to be treated the same, probably. They're going to say, and unless it's really something that's so specific to a serious medical condition that you really have to have it, and even then they might say, well, you know what, we just can't have you in our court. We just can't have you in our drug court because you're going to be testing dirty every time we do a test.
Right. Interesting. Does that impact, I think I've heard, and I think we've had this conversation before, you and I, impacting certain professions. Like, even though medical marijuana is legal in the state of Utah under a doctor's supervision, there are some professions where they can't take it. And I'm thinking of specifically like long haul truckers.
I was going to say
they just
CDLs.
Can't do that.
Right, yeah, because if you're drug tested, the same with alcohol. I mean, if you're a CDL driver and you get a DUI, you won't practice. You'll lose your job.
You'll never drive again.
And if you're a CDL holder and you're taking medical marijuana, you're going to test positive for that if they do a drug test, and you're going to lose your license. So certain professions, and you can't get around that. I mean, even like I used the opioid example. If you're taking opioids and for certain conditions, then don't drive while you're taking them.
Well, they say that on the bottle. Right.
Right. Yeah. Don't drive. Don't
drive.
operate heavy machinery or vehicle while you're on this. So yeah, those will be some things that take into effect as well.
Wow, interesting. Thanks for answering my questions. Look, have you ever been on a cruise?
Once.
I love cruises. So, but imagine this: you find a screaming deal, only to have the cruise line come back and say, "Oops, we didn't mean to do that," and then they cancel your booking. That actually just happened. We're going to talk about that when we come back after this break.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. And let's face it, it's time to update the look of your home's exterior. When was that thing built? In the 50s, 70s, 90s, the 2000s? Well, it's looking like it. Faded siding, drafty windows, leaky gutters. It's time to take action now. RGS Exteriors has been taking Utah homes from drab to fab for over 5 generations. We only use the highest quality materials like James Hardie siding and gutter topper gutter covers. You will be blown away by how much different and better and awesome your house can look. Your neighbors will be jealous, your home value will go up, and most of all, you're going to love it. Everything we do comes with our industry-leading 10-year everything guarantee, so you can sleep like a baby, knowing if anything goes wrong, you're 100% covered. For a free estimate on your gutters, windows, siding, or anything on your outside of your home, call RGS Exteriors at 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsexteriorsutah.com. That's rgsexteriorsutah.com.
Running a small business means juggling a lot. Your network has to handle it all. That's where a fiber-only provider falls short. You deserve a partner who gives you a greater advantage. Introducing the Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business. A first-ever combination of the largest, fastest fiber-powered network, the most reliable Wi-Fi, gig speeds with equipment and security included, and a 5-year price lock. Plus, it's all backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. The Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business. A new standard for small business with reliability, security, and savings in one. When you add it all up, no one does business like Comcast Business.
Switch today. Get started for $60 a month for 12 months when you add an advanced solution to a qualifying internet package. Limited time offer. New customers only. Requires 300 megabits per second internet, security edge, and additional qualifying service. 1-year agreement, paperless billing, and autopay with bank account required. Taxes and fees extra. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA Fixed Broadband Experience Report, May 2025.
My friend Joey means well.
Always remember that the early bird gathers no moss.
But he gets a little confused.
You know, you can't make a silk purse out of a wooden nickel.
Like Joey, many of us can be confused when it comes time to plan for retirement. When to take Social Security, how to use that 401k, what about the stock market, taxes, and Medicare? Todd Kim at Galileo Wealth Management can help to simplify retirement planning. His goal is to have you walk into retirement with confidence, not worry, and to address the number one concern among retirees today, the fear of running out of money. Call Galileo Wealth today for a no-cost, no-obligation meeting to talk about the details of your retirement. 385-247-7000. It's 385-247-7000 or online, GalileoWealth.com. And remember,
one man's trash is thicker than water. Of course, water's not thick at all. It's watery.
Drivers who switch to Progressive could save hundreds just by bundling home and auto insurance, because you can't go wrong saving money.
Unless you spend it on a guitar and never learn to play it, but lie and say that you did. Then someone hands you a guitar at a party and asks you to play, so you decide to improvise this.
Well, don't you know that but that's not it. Dreams are fun and also good.
Yep, you can't go wrong. Bundling and saving money with Progressive. Well, it depends on how you spend it. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. If you've got a honey-do list with electrical, plumbing, heating, or air conditioning projects on it, Any Hour Services can help. Call Any Hour Services, electrical, plumbing, heating, and air. AnyHourServices.com.
Everything to my back is dark.
High in the alpine wilderness.
Really ugly clouds coming over from the north.
A place
the ridgeline is imposing, the escarpments, the drops.
where survival,
It's dark now. I have nothing.
is never certain.
This is not good.
My name's Dave Cawley, and I'm the host of a podcast called Uinta Triangle. It's about the disappearance of an Australian hiker named Eric.
Our conclusion, and that of the sheriff, is that the mountains have decided to keep him.
Come retrace Eric's footprints with me.
You have done this walk too, but this is your backyard. Did he really make a wrong turn, or did he decide that he was done?
He is not the first or last person to vanish in this remote region.
It was haunting to see the photos. I mean, really.
Find and follow the podcast series Uinta Triangle. That's Uinta, spelled U-I-N-T-A, Triangle, wherever you get your podcasts. All episodes out now.
An expanded Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
Well, we're just a few days away from the Memorial Day weekend, which is the beginning of summer unofficially. So if you are planning to do something this summer, you want to save some money, browsing the web for cheaper rooms on a cruise, for example, you might find and book those tickets.
A really great deal.
But you'd also expect the cruise line to hold up their end of the bargain, right? Well, not necessarily. Some people who booked on a Carnival cruise line ship recently got a really good deal, only for the company to come back and say, oops, that was a mistake. Those numbers were wrong. We are now canceling your rooms.
Yeah, and that's the part that's sad, right? So I do understand glitches. In fact, I have followed some, it's been a minute, but some sources that are like, hey, I have this special airfare deal. We think it might be a mistake fare, so hurry and grab it, because airlines typically will honor these mistake fares that show up.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I think these people thought too, is they're like, okay, this is ridiculously good, but they're going to cover it, right? Well, they didn't. So what happened is, as people were online, they called it, the company called it an IT glitch, but they were able to book solo balconies for a 6-day cruise for like $300.
Yeah, so people were signing up. That's
ridiculously low, right? Ridiculously low. And so one person literally said, I hope that Carnival will honor the price, because it was literally a steal. But the Carnival Cruise Lines did not honor the price, and they said, so sorry, and probably is in the fine print, legally it probably is, but they said, so sorry, here's $100 that you can put towards, here's your $100 back, basically. You can put it towards another cruise on our cruise line, and people are like, oh, that's not what I want.
Yeah, right. So I would have expected something more than just, oops, just kidding, here's your $100 back. Although I wasn't necessarily thinking Carnival would just, because they would have lost a boatload.
Well, look, I don't know how many people found it, but again, sometimes the publicity of, hey, this was a mistake fare, but we're honoring it, that's good publicity for the company, right? Carnival. And that's why one of the airlines, like the airlines, when they do that, they'll do it.
Yeah, this is not such good PR.
I mean, it's just, there's a couple of things. So the New York Post did an article on it, but there's somebody that I follow, it's TripAdvisor, and they've got a cruise critic, and they just said, I'm disappointed that they didn't honor it, because I think they should have, basically.
Yeah, so it's one of those things that if it looks too good to be true, maybe it is.
It maybe
I don't
is.
know if I had even seen that, I would have had the wherewithal to think, Boy, that seems
I'm
like
jumping
a
on
great
it right
deal.
now.
Yeah, I'm sure some people were smart enough to know, well, this is way less than what we normally would pay. Let's sign up and do it. Like I said,
every once in a while, there's surprise fares, right? There's low fares. I'll just say this. This is not related to cruise lines, but my daughter really wanted to go to Italy. It was on her bucket list while she was a student at BYU Hawaii, and she was online, and she just, she would continually search for good deals. She found a round-trip deal for $325 from Hawaii to Venice, Italy, and back for $325. I'm she said, Mom, I bought it, as soon as I saw it, I bought it. I'm like, that's fantastic.
Right. Did you say you have been on cruises?
I've been on 3, and I took my first one. In fact, our kids gave it to us for an anniversary present when we were married, I think 30 years. So that was a decade ago. So it was so amazing for a couple of reasons. The best was, as the mom, and we didn't take any kids, I didn't have to think about anything. I didn't have to think about making a hotel reservation for the night. I didn't have to think about where we were going to eat. I didn't have to do any of that kind of work. I just got to sit back and relax. It was awesome.
Did you feel like you could let the kids run around?
I didn't take the kids with us.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
Okay. All right.
But we have gone on a couple with the younger kids. I've taken Jazzy, and we've taken our son Josh, who's in a wheelchair. No, I mean that's it's a different level of, hey, I have to be in charge of this vacation. It's like it's all taken care of.
Oh, I see what you mean. No, I went on one cruise and we did take the 3 kids who thought it was great, and it clearly was, and it was easy for us. I would go again. The thing that I think about with the cruise more than anything else is the food.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It was just incredible food every day.
Yeah.
Just world-class food.
And some of it, I would say, is maybe only so-so, but it's abundant, it's free, and you can find all kinds of different things. Even for the really picky eaters, there's something, right? If you want to go have dessert. In fact, we took my son, who I said is in a wheelchair, and then we have another son with some disabilities who came with us on an Alaska cruise, and they were having ice cream sundaes at 2:00 in the morning. They thought it was fantastic.
Well, people have asked me if there was something illegal about what Carnival is doing, and certainly if they say, sorry, bad deal for you, and kept your $100, that would be illegal because you paid for something you didn't get. You're still paying for something you didn't get, but Carnival will just refund the money, and then you didn't pay for something you didn't get. Now, here's a glitch to that I don't know whether this would apply. But let's say you did buy the ticket and you spent some money for airline tickets or this and that, and in reliance on that.
Oh, yeah. I
think you could potentially, and I'm not giving anybody legal advice here, go after Carnival and say, hey, but for your mistake, I wouldn't have spent all this money. I ended up hiring a dog sitter and hiring getting airfare and booking a hotel the night before the cruise. I can't get out of those.
Yeah.
This is your fault. So I do think there is some remedy there. But again, I'm just sort of thinking out loud here what the legal consequences to this might be.
That is interesting. And there is a cruiser who commented on one of the articles I talked about, and they said they think it's ironic that the cruise line didn't want to honor the fare because of all of the additional things that they can do, upsell, right? That they sell to people on the cruise. Hey, you want the drink package, and you want the internet package, and you want the, trip, the excursion, those kinds of things. I mean, there's a fair argument to be made there. And I think, I agree, it probably was in the fine print that I never read, and most people don't either.
That would have been something for Carnival to do, and that makes a lot of sense to say, okay, we're going to do this, but we're going to...
Or to give the $100 back and say, in addition, we're going to give you the drink package, and we're going to give you, right? I mean, because I know that they do that kind of thing all the time anyway. I don't know.
They got, the fact that we're talking about it.
I missed out on the deal anyway.
Right. The fact that we're talking about it means that they got some bad PR. I mean, we wouldn't be.
Bit.
And Carnival doesn't need that. I mean, some other cruise line just had a hantavirus outbreak. I mean,
bad.
People considering cruises right now are like, hey, there's 2 strikes going on right now.
Well, and then I think personally, I haven't seen news stories on this, although they probably exist. I would guess that fuel prices, the increase in fuel prices, are going to cause cruise lines to increase their prices as well, right? Just like the airlines are going to have done, right?
Yeah.
So interesting cruise stories. So it's one of the things, again, that I think is really fun. I've got relatives who have flown to Europe and then done a cruise that departs from Europe and they do like a Mediterranean cruise right. And that's like the best of both worlds. I've only done U.S. based ones. I mean, we head out from there, but I've done Alaska and 2 in the Caribbean.
Yeah, I went down the Caribbean as well.
Yeah.
My wife didn't go with me on that cruise. She's never been on a cruise, and she keeps asking me exactly what you just mentioned because I'm Greek. Skordas is a Greek name. We should go.
You should go
on a cruise to the Greek islands and enjoy that experience. And so maybe we will someday.
I've been to Greece a couple of times, not on a cruise, and first of all, just the history is incredible. I think I told you I saw a castle there built in the 1500s, and as part of the castle wall was the top of a Greek column from ancient Greece, right? I mean, they used what they had on hand.
Wow.
The castle is 500 years old, and they were using things that were 2,000 years old, right? I mean, it is incredible, and the food, you cannot beat the food.
Yeah. Well, I miss my mother and grandmother. They made Greek food all the time. Yeah, so Carnival Cruise Lines, bad PR for them this week due to
sometimes the deals are too good to be true, but sometimes it's a special secret window.
But they stood up to the plate. Good for them, I guess. Well, we've been talking a lot about this weekend. I went out of town last weekend down to central Utah and enjoyed the weather and thought, boy, summer's here. It got a little chilly and it's been cold since, but it's starting to warm up, and this weekend's supposed to be very warm. A Memorial Day weekend, we're going to continue our deep dive into water safety, which we started yesterday. Today, we're going to talk about, when we come back.
And I got it. Deep dive. Deep dive into water safety.
Boating safety. Stay with us.
10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour. You might want to plan ahead this Memorial Day weekend if your plans include going to Pineview Reservoir. KSL News Radio's Becky Bruce explains.
The boat ramp at Anderson Cove will be available, but you can expect limited parking there and a lot more demand for it because the Port Ramp Marina and Pineview Trailhead will need to be closed for construction. Weber County officials say it's badly needed work that should improve everyone's experience when it's all done. They'll be adding restrooms and a new road, a new day use site, more picnic sites, and new routes to the beach from the trailhead.
Construction is already underway and is expected to continue through the rest of the year. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Americans are trying to save money by turning to DIY projects at home, and that's boosting the bottom line of home improvement stores.
The Home Depot has beaten expectations for the fiscal first quarter, ringing up sales of nearly $42 billion and reaffirming its guidance to investors for the rest of the year. The company said it continues to expect fiscal 2026 sales to grow between 2.5% and 4.5% compared to last year.
ABC's Jim Ryan reporting. The Hurricane Valley Fire and Rescue Team saved a dog after it got stuck in a fence. The crew says the poor lab got scared after hearing some fireworks and tried to escape. Firefighters used a hydraulic extrication tool to move the bars the dog was stuck between to make enough space to move and were able to get it out. It's a good reminder as we get into the warmer seasons that pets do often not like fireworks, and the loud noises can send them running. Your money at this moment, the Dow down 210 points to 49,475. Coming up, we've got a few more cool-ish days and then a good warm-up in the weekend. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time, 10:31.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Right now, UCCU is offering short-term savings options with incredibly high yields. Simply make a deposit, then watch your savings grow with a fixed rate of return that's much higher than a savings account. UCCU also has great offers on jump-up options. So if rates continue to rise, you can jump up your rate and earn even more. Visit uccu.com to learn more and supercharge your savings today. UCCU. Love where you bank.
I'm Walker Kessler, and I play basketball for a living. So I know how important it is to have the support of a team you can trust. That's why I love UCCU. UCCU is more than a credit union. They're a true financial partner. A local team of experts your entire family can trust at every step of your financial journey. Just visit uccu.com and elevate your banking experience.
I love days like these at the pool, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. I'm ready to make a splash with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza. Skyrizi is a prescription-only injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. At 4 months, most people saw 90% clearer skin when measured from head to toe, and many were even 100% plaque-free. People also saw significant improvement in psoriasis symptoms of pain, redness, itching, and burning.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Now there's nothing on my skin thanks to Skyrizi, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZI to learn more.
Wait! Before you change the station, listen to this.
1-877 Cars for Kids, KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids, donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids, KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids, donate your car today.
Donate your car at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Pickup is quick and easy. You'll also get a vacation voucher and a tax deduction.
1-877 Cars for Kids, KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids, donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids, KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids, donate your car today. Donate your car today.
Traffic and weather together are brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at UCCU.com. Here's Cormac Bone.
Pretty good drive as we come into the midday commute. No delays on I-15 between Ogden and Provo. We do have some light southbound delays on I-215's eastbound, and this is just before you get to Big Cottonwood Road. There's a crash. They are blocking the right lane and shoulder there and causing just a little bit of slowdowns right at the cleanup, so do be careful and give them the space as crews are on the road working on that accident. If your roof needs repairs or replacement, do it now during S&S Roofing's huge spring sale. Flexible financing options available. Get the best value on the highest quality roofing job. Get a quote today at snsroofingutah.com. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather forecast, a high of only 64 degrees today, 70 on Wednesday. Small chance of rain on Thursday. Then the warm-up starts. We'll be into the mid to upper 80s by Monday on Memorial Day. Right now it's 54 degrees in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Big weekend coming up with good weather, supposedly. Should be fun. A lot of people should be out on their boats, and people who get out on their boats always tell me this, Holly, hey, I'm boating. I'm supposed to be drinking. Isn't that what I'm supposed to do? And they get charged for boating under the influence. And you know what? It's basically the same as driving under the influence. You can't operate a motor vehicle, whether it's in the water or in the air or on the road, while you're under the influence of alcohol. And people say, well, that's what we do when we boat.
Well,
we
that
drink.
Makes sense to me, though.
Yeah. No, it does to me, too. I tell these people, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard really bad accidents that happen because the boat operator was drunk. So it's interesting. We're actually in the middle of National Safe Boating Week, and I don't have a boat, but I've been on a boat.
There you go.
Look, the one thing I guess I know is that you should wear life jackets while you're on a boat. But my brother, I have to tell you this story. He lives in Florida, and they live close to a lake. And we were down there a couple of years ago visiting them, and we were out on their boat. And, you know, you can pull people behind. In fact, one of my nephews was on like a wakeboard or something. And he said, by the way, there are alligators in this lake, but they stay mostly close to the shore. So here in the middle, in the deep water, we don't have to worry about them. I'm like, I'll just stay in the boat. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Yeah, that reminds me of when my boyfriend was in the water and there was a snake coming toward him, and we didn't know whether to tell him because he was helpless. There's no way he could have moved out of the way of the snake or whatever. So I finally just drove the boat toward it, thinking, I got to get this thing out of there. It was just big.
And did it go away, or did you chop it up?
Well, it kind of went underneath. I don't know where it ended up, but he never was aware of it until he got in the boat.
Yeah. Look, so let's talk about boating under the influence, and then maybe there's some other additional safety stuff.
Yeah. So people, the only difference between Utah's alcohol laws for cars and boats, there's a crime called open container.
Okay.
You cannot in a vehicle have an open container of an alcoholic beverage. If you're the passenger, you cannot be drinking a beer
in the car.
In a car. In a boat, that law is changed. In other words, the passengers in a boat can have a beer or whatever they're drinking in their hand. The operator cannot. That's the open container law.
So they're a designated driver on a boat.
Right. Yeah, the designated driver can continue to drive. And so if you do want to have a drink, you got to sit down and let somebody else take the wheel. I know that's kind of crazy, but if you see the captain standing up there.
Yeah. Okay. So let me ask you this, because I'm not a boater. If you want to go out and you want to consume adult beverages on the boat, how long do you wait before you could say, okay, now I can operate the vehicle again? Is it different with like a houseboat? What about I just don't know.
Yeah, so it'd be the same as a car. You have to give, because the legal limit for a boat or a car or whatever is 0.05.
Still
That's
the same.
a very low number. That would be 1.5 to 2 drinks, where it used to be 0.08, which was 2.5 to 3 drinks. So really, if you shouldn't drink and drive at all, period. I would say that, from the bottom of my heart. But if you're boating, you just have to be very careful of that, because if, let's say, sometimes it doesn't matter. People just they drink too much, they do dumb things. But if you did a dumb thing and you were boating and the police came and drew your blood, and you had alcohol in it, you're going to be in deep trouble.
So tell me how if the police were involved, tell me how they do any kind of sobriety tests if you're on a boat.
That's a great question, because the standardized field sobriety test, you have one where you do the eyes, watch what they call it nystagmus, how much they jiggle. That happens whether you're boating or not. But the other 2 tests that are used are the 9-step walk and turn. We call it the heel to toe test.
Right.
You can't do that on a boat.
It's a little wobbly.
It's a little wobbly. You'd look like you were drunk. And the other one is the 1-leg stand. You hold a foot off the.
Oh yeah.
There's no way you can do that on a boat. So the tests that are used by law enforcement, it sort of depends. Everybody does their own thing. They'll do like a finger count test, like you touch your fingers 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1, or they'll say, recite the alphabet starting with T and go to D backwards.
I've never had a drink and I can't do that.
Oh yeah, you
normally.
Can. Yeah.
You'd have to sing the alphabet song backwards, and I can't do that.
Yeah. So yeah, and though they'll say start the alphabet at F and end at S, but don't sing. Because we can all go.
Right, we all can sing it.
F, G, you know what I mean? Like you can't do that either. So they can have you do other tests where they can measure your sobriety. Here's another thing that people don't realize. You don't need a license to operate a boat. You don't need a driver's license.
Okay.
But driver's license rules still come into play if you're boating. So if you're boating and you get convicted of a boating under the influence, even though you don't need a license, they will take your driver's license away. If you had a driver's license, it will be treated the same as a DUI.
Wow.
So like, let's say you're 16, 17 and you think, I don't need a license, blah, 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 and you get a boating under the influence. Then you go to apply to get your license when you get of age, 16, 17, and they'll say, well, you have a prior DUI on your record. You have to wait a year. You know what I mean? You have to wait. So it can affect your driving privileges.
Well,
People don't realize that.
You brought up minors, so I would assume that the same alcohol laws regarding minors would still apply. Like
absolutely, yes.
Then there's additional penalties because you were supplying alcohol to a minor.
It's called not a drop. Your alcohol if you have any alcohol in your system when you're under 21, that they don't care what the limit is. That's a crime. So yeah, be careful if you're out boating this weekend. Don't drink and drive a boat thinking that you're going to be okay, even though it's so inviting. You see people out in the hot sun wanting to have a cold beverage, just have a iced tea or a soda or something like that.
Let me ask you about some other safety things too, because I've seen I think everybody's probably seen the video of like the speedboat going over bumps and then everybody flies out of the boat right after they hit the bump, or like being pulled behind on an inner tube. It feels like you could get whiplash or something. How do you recreate safely and still have fun?
Well, you just have to be careful and know what your limitations are. You have to know what your boat can do, what it cannot do. And you have to know that if you're pulling somebody behind you on a tube and they're a kid and they're young and you're going too fast and they get hurt, you could be sued by that person, their family or something like that. There are also these new boards that where you get literally within just a few feet of the back. It's called... it's not wakeboarding, but it's like surfing on the wake of the boat. Yeah. You're literally right there, which looks like fun, but you're also breathing the fumes of the boat. You can get sick from that too.
And that's bad.
Yeah, it's really bad. You can pass out. So there are a lot of things to keep in mind when you're boating. And another thing, when we had a boat for 20 years, and they say, the best day in a man's life is when he buys a boat, and the second best day is when he sells it.
I know. We had a texter tell us that yesterday.
No, I couldn't get rid of it fast enough. But the only time I ever got in trouble was boating too close. When the reservoir gets really close to other people, and then you're going and you end up getting within so many feet of another boat. And I got warnings twice from people who said, "Look, you got a little too close to the other boat." And I'm like, "Man, I didn't even see him."
Oh wow,
but it's
that's
true.
concerning.
And then when you have a kid in the water,
yeah,
and you're going back to pick him up, you hold up a big orange flag. It means I got somebody in the water, so somebody else doesn't run into them. Yeah.
Well, that is super concerning.
Yeah,
Please don't run into other people.
Yeah, be careful.
Okay. Look, if you find yourself in the middle of a lake this summer and a storm blows in, do you know what to do? We're going to continue our conversation at boating safety with an expert after this.
Recently, I joined SOTA Diet Nutrition because I decided I needed to lose some weight. And I didn't need to lose a lot, but it was enough that it was bothering me personally. And I thought, if I could just lose 25 to 30 pounds, I'd be happy. Hooked up with SOTA. It's been 5 or 6 weeks, and I've had pounds come off every week. It's all diet-based. There are no pills. There's no injection. I have a nutritionist who coaches me every week. I actually fill out a form of what I've been eating, what I have been not eating, and give it to her. She says, okay, you need to do this, you need to do that. But the program said you could lose 3 to 5 pounds a week. I've been way over that, well over that. I've lost 23 pounds in 6 weeks, 5 weeks. So it's been much more than I expected. It's been a lot of fun. It's all based on diet. My wife supports me 100%. She even says I look better. And I'm almost to where I need to be, and I've only been on the program for just over a week. SOTA Diet Nutrition, SOTA at SOTADietNutrition.com. Remember, join us for a short time to have results that last a lifetime.
More than 50 million Americans suffer from a form of mental illness.
And Utah isn't immune, with nearly 1 in 3 people dealing with anxiety, depression, or another form of mental illness.
But there's hope. We can all take action to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe.
That's why KSL has teamed with the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation to bring you hope and help you thrive.
It's Healthy Mind Matters.
Find out more at healthymindmatters.com.
Do you know how to tell if a clogged drain is something to worry about or not? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and I understand it's annoying and inconvenient, but sometimes a clogged drain can be a sign there's a more serious issue with your sewer main line. If the drains in the lowest level of your home aren't draining, or you flush a toilet and it comes up somewhere else like a shower or a floor drain, I'm urging you to look at this as more than just an annoyance. The last thing I want you to experience is a sewer backup. If you're a homeowner experiencing any of these issues, the first step would be to snake the line to see if it's just a blockage, which one of our drain techs can do for only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
My name is Tom.
My name is Cindy.
We give to and volunteer with United Way at our community free health clinic.
We know our time and money are going to the right places.
We don't just wear the shirt.
We live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer. Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Will?
When I was 50, my whole life fell apart. I lost my job, I lost my wife, I lost the house, I lost pretty much everything except for my life. When the IRS came calling, I just didn't have it in me. I felt like Wile E. Coyote, just waiting for that IRS anvil to drop.
Then Will found Tax Relief Advocates.
I heard their advertisement on the radio, I wrote down the number, and I made the call that changed everything. The IRS gave me a bill for $40,000. Tax Relief Advocates got that down to $3,200. I've paid 9 cents on the dollar. Now that's a great deal in anybody's book.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Will did and call TRA for a consultation.
But for me, the real win is I got my life back.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-488-2578. 800-488-2578. That's 800-488-2578.
The more you listen to your kids, the closer you'll be. So we asked kids, what do you want your parents to hear?
I feel sometimes that I'm not listened to. I would just want you to listen to me more often and evaluate situations with me and lead me towards success.
We're not adults, so just be there and listen. I just want someone to yap to. And I just feel like I'll be fine if someone just hears me talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk.
You're doing a really good job. And I don't think I tell you that enough. And I know sometimes we get into it and it's just hard on both of us. But try to understand me more and I'll try to do the same.
Listening is a form of love. Find resources to help you support your kids and their emotional well-being at sounditouttogether.org. That's sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Pivotal.
So, you want to be a hero. Here are some ways to get the job. Hunt down that killer shark. Or run into a burning house to save a kitten. Luckily, there's an easier way to become a hero. Call 911 if you see someone experiencing the symptoms of stroke, sudden weakness on one side, or trouble speaking, walking, or seeing. Stroke. Know the signs. Act in time. You'll be a real hero. A message from the National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke.
Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
Riders on the storm.
I told you before the break that I had a boat for 20 years, and we enjoyed that boat a lot. We never had anyone hurt, never had any serious injuries or accidents, but I'll tell you the most frightening part I ever had on that boat was when we had thunderstorms come up and I was out in the water.
Oh, yeah.
Because, first of all, you've got lightning that always attaches to thunderstorms, and if it hits you on a boat, you're done. But more likely, the waves would get so high that would literally come over the bow, and of course it's freezing cold when the storm. Storms, I don't know what it is about a lake or a big body of water, but when a storm goes over that, it seems to be exacerbated.
It really
just seems
picks
to
up,
be big.
yeah.
And I would have the kids just lying underneath the front of the boat, just cowering there, and of course I'm driving it, and then you've got to get the boat out of the water. You got to back a truck down to the boat and try to get it on a trailer, knowing that you can't, if it's moving around. And boy, we had some scary moments for boats on the water. And so I don't mention that to scare anyone, because people ride around the storm all the time and without problems. But I've seen some scary incidents. I literally had to hook onto another person's boat because it was flooding.
Oh, wow.
And it was sinking. It was literally sinking. And we dragged that boat as fast as we could to the shore because it was going down.
Wow. That, to me, that's scary, right? I mean, that might be a counter to the fun. Although, I guess for me, part of it is you got to watch the weather forecast. But if the storms come up suddenly, and I know that I have seen multiple reports of either near misses or even deaths of people who were trapped out on the water. Like I'm thinking Utah Lake down in Utah County where I live, and they got caught by an unexpected storm and they couldn't make it back in.
Yeah, then it's a huge problem. I remember water skiing once, and you like to ski on the glass water that looks
sure,
and it's great. But when there's a storm coming up and you're on these waves and you're trying to water ski, and my family's like, "Dad, will you just get in the boat so we can get out of here?" It was like,
Dad, get in the
I
boat.
just couldn't get out of the water.
So yeah, it's it's a conversation I think that we need to have, and what to do if it comes up quickly, right? So if you're in the water and there's a thunderstorm, but it could just be wind and waves, right? But thunderstorms, you can have, as you mentioned, the lightning, right, which is the concern. And I've taken kids to the pool, and if there's lightning within 2 miles, everybody gets out, right, until that is cleared. And in fact, one time I had paid to get into the pool, and I think we didn't even make it to the chairs, and they said, "Okay, everybody out."
Yeah.
It was like 2 hours before we could go back in.
It's funny, but at least once a year, sometimes more than that, Holly, I'll be on the ski patrol, and we'll close. We don't put people on the chairlifts when there's a lightning storm coming.
Oh.
They don't want them anywhere near the chairlift. So, and you can see,
That's
usually they'll
interesting.
stop when it's about 8 miles away because it
Wow.
takes that long to evacuate the chairlift. But it's
I didn't even think about that in the
Yeah,
winter because
yeah,
that
you
doesn't.
don't, especially
Yeah.
up at altitude. You think,
Yeah.
when's it going to be lightning? But we've closed the mountain and just
Oh,
shut down all the
interesting.
lifts. But yeah, there's a lot to boating and a lot to I think safety that people don't realize. And again, I've just had some experience with it. But we have paddle boards that are out now. They're out on the water. And literally, I don't know if you've seen them, but you're standing on what looks like a giant surfboard.
I've tried it. I cannot stand up.
Fun.
Nope.
and I have a little kayak. My wife bought it for me. It's a fishing kayak and it has pedals.
Oh wow!
So I can scoot around the lake. But I'll tell you, when a big boat comes by you and you're in a kayak, you can get swamped in a hurry and it just spins you right over.
Well, we have Ty Hunter with us. He's the boating program manager with the Utah Division of Outdoor Recreation to talk to us a little bit more about what to do when this wild weather comes up. Thanks for joining us, Ty.
Yes, thank you for having the opportunity for me to talk with y'all and talk to your listeners.
Well, we talked about some scary situations, but I wonder if you can give us advice on what happens if we are caught out on the water and a storm comes up quickly.
Well, the biggest one is out of anything, do your due diligence before you go out on the water. Look at your weather reports, and not get caught out there when a storm pops up. The National Weather Service has a marine forecast for most of the lakes across the state of Utah that are popular recreation areas. So if you go to the Salt Lake area, hit the marine report, and then it'll come up, and it basically gives you a red, yellow, green forecast twice a day for those bodies of water. Now, if you do get caught in one, my main thing with that is get your life jacket on if you haven't already have it on. I would suggest that you always wear your life jacket, but put a life jacket on. If your boat is big enough, you point the bow into the water and just slowly ride it out, and just keep yourself out there. If you're close to where you can get a safe harbor, then move into there and ride the storm out. If you're on a paddle craft like you were talking about, try to get to shore as quickly as possible.
Ty, I think about it just in my own experience when people are in a motor vehicle accident. A lot of times the first question is, did they have a seatbelt on? People in a motorcycle accident, first question is, did they have a helmet on? And I think when you're dealing with boating incidents and things like that, the first question is, did they have a life jacket on? Because it makes a huge difference. And it would probably, given the number of accidents and other things that befall boaters, save a lot of lives if everybody was wearing a life jacket.
It really would. It'd save over 80% of our drowning victims that are boating related. They would have lived if they had a life jacket on. I mean, just the simple action of putting the life jacket on. A lot of times I'd like to paint the situation that somebody's in trouble off of the boat, and we have a whole bunch of other folks that are on that same boat. And we have individuals jumping into the water after this person to give them assistance, but not one of them thought to put a life jacket on. So now we're multiplying the amount of people that will or may need, extra assistance to get back to that boat. So there's this wonderful thing called a throwable life jacket, a Type 4 throwable cushion. You throw that to the person first. While somebody's getting a jacket on, that person with the jacket can go in. That's the biggest thing as a rescuer. You need to take care of yourself so you can take care of the ones when you get to them.
And that's one of the things that's required on a boat, isn't it, Ty? That not only do you have to have life jackets for every person, but you have to have one of these, I don't forget what you just called it, something that you can toss to a person who's in the water that's not necessarily a life jacket. At least that's how I remember it from my days having a boat.
It's basically boats that are 16 feet or greater in length. They must have at least one. As you start getting into the larger ones like your houseboats, then you may have to have two.
Interesting. So if you are trying to rescue somebody, you've got this advice with the life jackets. What else can you tell us about helping somebody who's in trouble?
The big one is you try to provide, it's the same thing of like all water rescue. We talk about trying to do a reach. We do a throw, okay? And then we do a row, and then we do a go. And the go is only when you have that the personal protection for yourselves. That's the only time you do a go. And you are fit enough to do so. The row could either be under power or you row to them. So that's that in essence is taught for pools. It's also taught open water wise. So that reach, throw, row, go, or don't go. And that's how we need to kind of get it in our mind. Now, I know a lot of things, if it was my kids, what would I do? Well, me knowing from what I have with that, I'm throwing something to them. I'm going to have my life jacket on anyway because I've seen too much. And frankly, my kids are going to be in the water. They're going to have jackets on no matter what, too, just because of what I see. But if I'm in that circumstance where my kid's in the water and doesn't have a jacket and I am on the boat and don't have a jacket, I'm throwing something to them, then I'm going to get my jacket on, and then if I have to go after them, I will.
All right. Any last 10 seconds worth of advice for people who might be out this weekend?
Really, this is one of our first big hoorahs for the year. I know folks are just itching to get out if they haven't already been out. Been out on the water. Just be safe. Wear your life jacket, and go home at the end of the weekend.
All right. Thanks so much. That was Ty Hunter, Boating Program Manager with the Utah Division of Outdoor Recreation. And when we come back, we're going to talk about having a relationship with AI chatbots. It turns out that 1 in 7 young adults who are already in committed relationships with humans say they also use AI for romantic connection. We're going to talk about that.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Cameron Elliott. KSL's top national story this hour from ABC News. President Trump touted his ballroom project at the White House today. The project, Trump claims, has been privately funded. A bill has been circulating through Congress that would allocate $1 billion to the United States Secret Service at the White House, and some of that money could go to the ballroom project.
This is one well-knit building. One thing doesn't work without the other. Very importantly, though, in terms of the beauty, probably the closest thing to this would be the U.S. Supreme Court, the facade of the U.S. Supreme Court.
The president argued that the security at the ballroom meant that more money was needed. Other national stories KSL is following. A Boca Raton man now says a Lyft driver tried to scam his family out of $75. Bert Gore tells ABC affiliate WPBF that he got a fraud alert about a $75 damage fee from Lyft. He says he declined it and called Lyft. The ride-sharing company says the driver that had picked up his 14 and 15-year-old daughters from the beach had submitted pictures which appeared to show food and spilled drinks in the back of the car. Gore says he asked to see the pictures, and his daughter noticed the logo for Google's AI Gemini in one of them, indicating it was made using artificial intelligence.
If you're not paying attention to this and you're getting charged $75. I mean, it can really add up. So you really got to pay attention.
Gore says a Lyft representative agreed they were fake pictures, apologized, and has now blocked the driver. Taking a look at your money at this moment, it is red across the board. The Dow Jones is down 129 points. That's just above 0.25%. The S&P 500 is down 22 points. That's 0.31%. And the NASDAQ is down 124 points. That is nearly 0.5%. Coming up, the warm-up is underway. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:02.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Lunch was great, but this traffic is awful.
Can we stop at a bathroom?
Are you all right?
I keep having stomach issues after eating, like diarrhea, gas and bloating, abdominal pain, and sometimes oily stools.
Sound familiar? Those stomach issues may actually be a pancreas issue called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. Creon pancrelipase may help manage EPI. Creon is a prescription medicine used to treat people who can't digest food normally because their pancreas doesn't make enough enzymes.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you are allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon. Call 800-633-9110 or visit creoninfo.com to learn more. That's CREONinfo.com.
I'm asking my doctor about EPI and if Creon could help.
Amanda, every business needs IT help. And sometimes you've got that guy who already works for your company who knows how to do this stuff. But sometimes you don't. Or the guy who knows the IT stuff, that's not his actual job.
Right. So Les Olson IT they can be your 24/7 help desk. They can support your existing help desk. They can do advanced cybersecurity protection. Maybe just come and take a look. Are you subject to phishing or ransomware or other things? What are the cyber threats you're facing?
And you've got to make sure that your data is secure. So both cloud and data backup solutions, they can help you with that. Plus, everybody's got to use a computer. That's where hardware comes in, infrastructure support. You don't have to know all this stuff because Les Olson IT knows it.
And most of the time, they can help you fix whatever's going wrong remotely, just off your computer. Plus, of course, they have copiers and printers. They always will at the very best price.
Les Olson IT is your trusted local IT partner. They've been in business for 70 years, and they've got 9 locations from Logan to Las Vegas.
Find out more at lesolson.com.
The Children's Center Utah provides a unique service in our communities by meeting the needs of very young children and their caregivers. Here's a Little Minds Big Hope message from Dr. Kyle Smith, the Children's Center Utah's child and adolescent psychiatrist during May's Mental Health Awareness Month.
Did you know that mental health challenges can begin as early as infancy? Even young children can experience anxiety, trauma, and emotional distress. Find out more at childrencenterutah.org.
Since 1947, Whipple Service Champions has been Utah's most trusted name for heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical services. Got a high-priced repair bill from another company and you're just not sure about it? Call Whipple. Get a free, no-pressure estimate or bring us their quote for an honest second opinion. Totally free. Whipple Service Champions, Utah's first place for second opinions since 1947. Call 385-273-7167 for your free estimate today. 385-273-7167.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at UCCU.com. Here's Ricky Meese.
We do have a small accident in the Holiday area, southbound I-215's East Belt. After 4500 South, but before Knutson's Corner. So prior to 6200 South, it's out of traffic on the shoulder, but despite all lanes open, it's caused some slower traffic in that immediate area. No matter where life takes you, Cypress Credit Union has the tools to help you plan your financial future. Start today at cypresscu.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
We're looking at temperatures in the high 60s and low 70s this week until Saturday when we break back into the 80s. It's going to keep warming through the weekend, culminating to a steamy 87 on Monday. Right now, though, it's 57 degrees, and sunny downtown. I'm Cameron Elliott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
We told you that we were following the events in Utah County in the matter of the state of Utah versus Tyler Robinson. He's the man accused of killing Charlie Kirk. I didn't want to leave you hanging. The state and defense argued 2 motions, and I'll be very brief. One was whether or not the prosecutor should be sanctioned for giving comments to the media about the ballistics report that was inconclusive. And second, whether or not information should be restricted from the public view that's going to come out at the preliminary hearing. After, 2 hours of argument, the judge said, I'll let you know my decision in June. So and just in case anybody was waiting for that, there will be a decision in June. But I wanted to shift gears a little bit because new data reveals just how many romantic companionships are being formed these days with artificial intelligence. And they're really disrupting real-life relationships. It's been an interesting trend to see.
To me, it's not just interesting, it's disturbing. And as we've talked about artificial intelligence over the lifespan of our show, coming up on a year now, it's the one thing that has caused me the most concern is that people are forming attachments to AI bots.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine. I guess you're just chatting with them so often that you suddenly develop some sort of relationship. It's hard for me to imagine, but it happens.
So you mentioned the new study. It's just out from BYU's Whately Institute and the Institute for Family Studies, and we have with us Dr. Brian Willoughby, a BYU professor and director of the Relate Institute, to talk about this new study. Thanks for joining us, Dr. Willoughby.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
So can you tell us just like an overview of the data that you found as you did this study?
Yeah, so we've been trying to understand just how common AI companions in romantic spaces are. And we did a big national study of young adults in the United States. And we wanted to know specifically how common these are for people that are already in relationships. We did a study a year ago that found that about 1 in 4 young adults have already been experimenting with AI romantic companions. This study, we want to look at people that are actually already in a human relationship, dating, engaged, married young adults, and if they too are experimenting with AI companions. And we found that they are. About 1 in 10, little more than 1 in 10 said that while they're actually dating a human being, they're also talking to an AI romantic companion on the side.
Were any of them concerned that they were cheating, that there was something going on that was sort of untoward, that maybe you're feeling guilty about what you're doing to your real life relationship?
Yeah, it's a great question. We actually asked them in our survey. We said, first off, do you think your partner would care that you're talking to an AI companion? And interestingly, most of them said, I don't think my partner would probably care that much. It's not like a real person. It's not like I'm cheating. But then when we asked them, does your partner know then what you're doing or what you're saying to your AI companion? And most of them said no. So I do think they have the sense that their real life partner probably wouldn't love reading these chats that they're having with an AI companion. And so even though they said, yeah, my partner probably wouldn't care, they're also not necessarily telling their real life partner what's going on.
So, and here's where my real concern is you found that about 68% of the people who are using AI companions say that it was easier to talk to the chatbot than it was to talk to their real life person in their life. That's where I'm really worried. What did like your research as you pull that out? Did you talk about the whys, or do you have conclusions on that piece of data?
Yeah, one of the big things we're trying to figure out is what is appealing and what happens when you start to converse with an AI romantic companion over an extended period of time. And one of the big things that we're finding is that preference for AI interactions grows really quickly. And it makes a lot of sense because AI companions are constantly validating you. They're constantly telling you what you want to hear. That's not the same thing as a real life partner who's going to have their own opinions and thoughts and push back on you. And we find that when people start to interact with an AI, they start to prefer it over their real life interactions. And that's one of the reasons we think one of the other things we found in our study is that people that interact with AI companions on a regular basis have much less stable real life relationships because of that preference. We think that's building. It's one of the big pieces is that as I start to prefer talking to an AI versus my real life partner, prefer talking to an AI versus dating people, it's going to create some unique challenges when it comes to forming and maintaining high quality relationships.
Dr. Willoughby, what do these chats look like? And I know that probably everyone's different, and I don't need to get into anything personal, but what is it about these chats that are personal? What are people talking to, or what are they saying to their AI companion?
Yeah. I think it ranges a lot for different people, but they're talking to them just like they would talk to a real life human that they're in a relationship with. Some people are sharing emotions, concerns, fears that they have. They're looking for validation. In relationships, one of the things we're finding is that a lot of people are turning to AI chatbots to talk about their relationships. Say, I just had this fight with my romantic partner. What do you think is going on here? And of course, the chatbot is going to say, well, I think you're right. I think you are the one that has the better opinion in this. And it's that validation, that emotional validation. We also know that people are turning to AI chatbots for role-playing purposes. Some people seeking sexual content in conversations with AI chatbots. So the range actually is pretty large. And that's one of the reasons why they're appealing, is because they are so customizable. They can do so many different things, have so many different types of conversations, that really no matter what I'm looking for, I could conceivably use an AI chatbot to engage in that sort of conversation.
So I have already said I'm concerned about the relationship illusion, right? That you have this perfect companion, and to me it feels like the relationship people sometimes have with pornography, because it's not real, right? It's designed to give you what you want to hear. So what are some of your concerns as researchers with the data that you found on this?
Yeah, I think there's a couple concerns that we have. First and foremost, there's some research we're finding, other people are finding, about the potential for compulsive behavior around this, that like many forms of media and many other things online with technology, social media, pornography, we are finding that a smaller group, but a group of people are going to struggle with wanting to come back to this all the time, disengaging from human relationships because of it. I think that's going to be a small group, but that is a risk. I think the larger risk is that I call these AI companions digital distractions. They distract people from the type of work and effort that needs to go into maintaining a healthy relationship with people around me, even engaging in relationships with those around me. And so I think part of the fear is that, particularly with young adults, we know so many of them are struggling with depression, loneliness, isolation. These technologies are just going to be one more potential reason or thing that's going to pull them away and distract them away from human relationships. We know that one of the best predictors of lifelong success in life, happiness, health, mental health, physical health, is forming strong human relationships and long-term romantic relationships is still one of the best predictors we have of lifelong physical and mental health. And I think the concern is that these AI chatbots have the potential to distract and pull people away from those. And so I think those are some of the main concerns that we're worried about right now.
All right. Thank you so much. Really fascinating research. And that was Dr. Brian Willoughby, BYU professor and one of the key lead authors on this study. And we want to hear from you that people are turning to AI and chatbots for romantic connection. What does that say about our society? Call us 801-575-TALK or send us a text with your thoughts to 57500 and we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Mike Kay at My Policy Quote, and if you missed open enrollment or did enroll in one of those marketplace government plans, it's not too late. I save my clients 30 to 60%. That's an average of $3,500 to $9,000 in premium savings. At My Policy Quote, you can choose any doctor, zero deductible for outpatient expenses, and oh, one more thing, premiums are not tied to your income, so there's no surprise tax penalty at the end of the year like those government plans. And unlike those ACA plans where the use prices are dictated, with me, all of your costs are managed by you, so you control your out-of-pocket. If you pay your own health insurance, you're on COBRA, uninsured, your employer is just too much, or even self-employed or small businesses, call me, Mike, today. 385-367-6779. Again, that's 385-367-6779, or visit mypolicyquote.com. That's mypolicyquote.com to get started now.
I'm really interested to hear about how your parents talk to you at home, and how do you think they can kind of break through to you?
It's just to talk about. It's just seriously it's going to be awkward at first, but if you keep repeating it over and over again, it's just going to feel natural.
Keep going, and soon we'll just be able to talk about it.
Talking about mental health with your teens is the power of we in action. Visit intermountainhealth.org/teen mental health.
Download to see if you qualify. Not all customers will qualify. Transfer fees may apply. No Albert subscription required. Albert is not a bank. Albert Instant Loans are issued by FinWise Bank, member FDIC. Not an actual client. Terms apply.
Kylie, what's wrong? I just got hit with a car repair bill. I'm behind on rent, and I feel like I can never save any money.
Have you tried the Albert app? Albert is your financial assistant, helping you find ways to save and create custom budgets to actually grow your money. Plus, you can get up to $10,000 for big expenses, or advance up to $1,000 fast when you need cash right away.
Albert can get me up to $10,000?
Exactly. Albert spots you in a pinch and helps you grow your money in the long run.
I'm downloading Albert right now.
Download the Albert app and use promo code THRIVE to borrow up to $10,000 for whatever you need. The Albert app helps you budget better and save more money so you reach your financial goals faster. Download the Albert app right now and use promo code THRIVE to borrow up to $10,000. Use code THRIVE to borrow up to $10,000.
Wednesday on KSL. Sometimes you find yourself on the wrong side of someone's bad intentions. Hey, why'd you steal my package? Why'd you steal it? Sometimes the court orders them to pay you back.
The total damages was $109,000.
How often are victims actually made whole?
At the end of the day, she paid $20,000.
A decade later, I'm going to let you know how much restitution I got and what it takes to get it. Why'd you steal my package? Pay back. Wednesday at 10.
Traffic's rough. Your parking lot doesn't have to be. Keep it smoother than your summer playlist with GoPave Utah. GoPaveUtah.com. GoPaveUtah.com.
When your car is making a strange noise, no matter what it is, you can't just pretend it's not happening.
That's an interesting sound.
It's like your mental health. If you're struggling and feeling overwhelmed, it's important to do something about it. It can be as simple as talking to someone in your community, or just taking a deep, calming breath when you need it. Nice. For mental health resources, check out loveyourmindtoday.org. At loveyourmindtoday.org, you'll find information that may help you get through a tough time. Things like tips for dealing with stress, how to navigate difficulties like financial worries, anger, substance use, and more. You can also find real stories of how people navigated their own mental health challenges. Because once you start to address the problem, you can go so much further. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
911, tell me exactly what happened. My son and his wife and their 2 children haven't responded.
Susan Powell disappeared on a snowy morning in 2009.
Your wife is missing, Josh.
Yeah, but I've
And you want to think about it for a couple of days?
The podcast, Cold, has gone deep on these kinds of stories.
I'd had this overwhelming feeling that he had done something to her already.
Clearly, something happened on that couch because he cleaned it.
Find and follow Cold wherever you get your podcasts.
The new Inside Sources.
Well, more and more young people are turning to artificial intelligence and chatbots for romantic connections, not just limited to young people. 1 in 7 young adults who are already in a committed relationship with another human being. I mean, you'd think 1 in 7 was a lot, but 1 in 7 who are already in a committed relationship with another human are having romantic connections with their AI chatbots. We want to hear from you. What do you think this says about our society, that people are turning to AI and chatbots for romantic connection? Call us at 801-575-TALK. That's 801-575-8255, or send us your text with your thoughts at 57500.
We do have a texter who texted last segment and just said, oh, so that's why we need the data centers. Computer love.
Right.
So look, here's what we learned from this new study that was just released by the BYU Wheatley Institute in conjunction with some other people, and they called it Secret Soulmates. That was the title of their report. But one of the things that they found, and this was a nationwide survey of young adults ages 18 to 30 already in relationships with a human, as you said, they regularly 1 in 7 regularly interact with AI chatbots, and another 20 or 30% have at least experimented with chatbots to simulate a romantic partner. And then secrecy is the norm.
Yeah, more than half of the users are actually hiding, or at least only partly disclosing their AI companion use. Nearly 30% said their partner had no idea. 69% said it was important that their partner never learn the full extent of their use.
It's so concerning.
That's so weird.
It's
really
concerning
weird
to me. It's like cheating.
Yeah.
So I think it is. Like if you feel a need to hide, there's something there that's telling you that you're doing something you shouldn't be doing. So we have another texter who says they've watched this for 15 years, this deterioration and loss. I mean, talk about there's so much loss, right? And I've talked to you about young kids, even teenagers, who are turning to chatbots for emotional support and things, and they don't they're not going to learn the skills to interact with other human beings, even at work, right? Well, the chatbot, as we heard from our last guest, they told me that I was right in this argument and my boss should have blah, blah, blah. Right. But we're talking about romance here. And to me, it's just so deeply concerning.
Yeah, and it also creates bad relationship outcomes. AI companion use has been associated with lower relationship stability, higher breakup, divorce likelihood, poorer communication with real-life partners. I mean, what a way to ruin your relationship by trying to communicate all day long with your AI companion.
Well, you think, right, and they're designed, right, they're programmed to feed you what you want to hear, these AI chatbots. And so when you're having a conversation with your AI romantic companion, they never disagree with you. They don't argue. Right. They don't push back and say, I don't want to do that. Yeah, or you need to help around the house more. No, they say, no, everything's great.
Yeah, and users 68% found it easier to talk to their AI companion about feelings than to real people. 65% it was easier to be themselves with AI, who was not themselves, and half wished their real partner behaved more like their chatbot. 56% wished real conversations mirrored AI ones.
Well,
which is the other side just agreeing with everything you say. This is so weird.
They don't, and again, it's. While they're using it, they don't see a big problem. And I think maybe because you and I aren't growing up with chatbots and artificial intelligence. And again, I have to say this again, ChatGPT has only been around 3.5 years. But we didn't grow up with that. And so like the concept to me is just so foreign. Like I just don't understand it. Although we know that there's potential uses of chatbots with mental health therapy, and that has to have some really significant guardrails. We have another texter that weighed in that says this is the norm. This is what the future looks like. And I hope that's not the case, because what this is really an illusion of relationships. It's not real that you have this relationship with ChatGPT or some other AI bot. But then you try to transfer that to real life, and your real life partner doesn't act like your perfect romantic chatbot.
Right, and then the researchers found that was a real problem with this. That was a real concern.
Yeah.
And they cautioned against using words like partner or relationship for these interactions, because it tends to get you into a situation where you're dealing with a chatbot. I mean, let's face it, it's just X's and O's.
And they're not talking to their real life companion, their real life romantic partner, about their conversations, right? They're not saying, hey, honey, like I asked Claude or I asked ChatGPT how I should have handled this conversation with you, and what they recommended was. They're not doing that. They're keeping it secret, and they don't want their partner to find out that they're turning to ChatGPT.
So at the risk of pushing back, let me throw this out. There is a tremendous amount of loneliness and depression among young people these days. They're just not getting out.
Yep.
And I'm wondering if an AI relationship is better than no relationship. I mean, it sounds like it could be, because it doesn't allow people to encourage to find a real relationship. They fall back on the AI one. But for people that are incredibly lonely and depressed, I don't know. I'm just throwing that out.
I would say no.
Yeah.
I would say it's not better. We have another texter who says it's like the movie Her, which is Her. It's not a movie I'm familiar with, actually.
Right. Me neither.
But, we've had stories, and we've talked about this before. We've had stories of people who are marrying their AI companions, and they're not legally binding marriages, of course, but there was one, I think, in Japan who held a ceremony where she put on a wedding dress and all the things. There was another one in the United States where the husband in the marriage between a human and a human wanted to open the marriage and have other romantic partners, and his wife said, it's okay if you have a relationship with this AI companion. And when he was interviewed for a media story, he said, I really love her, meaning this AI companion who's not real.
Not real at all. There's no love there. The AI companion does not love you.
This is another comment, and I think this is really interesting and insightful. This is why society cannot have opposing discourse. We're losing our ability to have healthy conflict from which we have grown emotionally and logically. right? There is growth in being able to look at other people's viewpoints, to being able to say, hey, you're right about that, and to taking a step back, right? I mean, the secret to long marriages, a lot of forgiveness, a lot of grace, right? You don't need any of that when you've got a chat companion.
So I've been slow to get into the AI universe, and I don't know that I'm really in it full time now. I noticed that when I write letters, something tells me to change my grammar a lot. Or when I ask questions, I get a lot more answers than I used to get when I go onto some search engine. So
Sure.
I guess I am using some AI, but I don't communicate with it in any way.
Right. I
know
don't have a
how you would
conversation with like a human.
How would you even do that? But I mean, I guess you could figure it out, but it just seems
to you and I, right? I mean, for us, it's like, wow, we have a texter who also says someday we'll no longer worship because these kids avoid face-to-face interaction.
Yeah.
And there have been ongoing conversations about faith, the role of faith and artificial intelligence. And in fact, with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Elder Garrett W. Gong is an expert in artificial intelligence. And he said, it's no replacement for a relationship with God, right? You can't chat GPT your way into faith. It just doesn't work that way. And they want to make sure, and there's a whole interfaith group working together on this, that there's accurate information given by these chat robots or chatbots, right? I mean, that's what the bot is for. It's a robot.
Yeah, I have to say, just thinking about it, I would feel awful if my wife was having some sort of an AI relationship, because you'd feel like, what am I doing wrong?
Right.
What am I not providing to this relationship?
Right. We have another texter, and they say this: I've noticed a distinct difference with the new generation not knowing how to verbally communicate with others. They almost seem afraid to talk to people. I've seen that too, right? The fear of like, we're not going to leave a voicemail message, let alone talk on the phone. We'll text maybe, right? But even having a face-to-face conversation, it is becoming harder and harder, I think.
Silliness. Well, enough of that.
Seriousness. It's not silly.
We
It's serious.
appreciate our listeners chiming in, and some of the texts were very helpful to us. When we come back after the break, local religious leaders are reacting to a deadly shooting that happened at a San Diego Islamic center. Let's have a broader conversation on the effects this kind of hate can have on our society. We're going to talk about that when we come back on Inside Sources.
It's 11:30 at KSL News Radio. My name is Cameron Elliott. KSL's top local story this hour from ABC News. Today, Russian President Vladimir Putin travels to China for a meeting with President Xi Jinping. This trip comes days after President Trump visited President Xi for a two-day summit.
There is a Power Siberia 2 pipeline that they've been working on. It hasn't been finalized yet. That's going to be significant if it is. Russia sells most of its energy to China. China, of course, is a huge consumer of energy, and they have been somewhat cut off because of the blockade the U.S. has done on Iran, at least about 20%. So it's a very important strategic alliance.
ABC News national security analyst Mick Mulroy says China and Russia have a tight partnership, particularly with energy. Other national stories KSL is following: it could be a very long summer if tourists continue to behave so badly. ABC's Sherry Preston has the details.
Tossing a coin in Rome's iconic Trevi Fountain is supposed to mean you'll someday return to the city. But what if you toss yourself in? That's what a tourist from New Zealand did, fully clothed, swam around as Italian police ordered him to get out. He's been banned from returning to the fountain ever, so there's your answer. In Japan, an American tourist wearing a smiley face head entered the zoo enclosure housing Punch, the little monkey who carries around that stuffed orangutan. Another tourist filmed it for social media. The monkey scattered. The tourists were arrested. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Taking a look at your money at this moment, it is red across the board. The Dow Jones is down 88 points. That's about a fraction of a percent. The S&P 500 is down 8 points, about 0.1%. The NASDAQ is down 51 points. That's 0.2%. Coming up, cold this week and warm the next. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:31.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Hi, it's Greg Skordas, and for years and years, I'd maintained the same weight until I hit 60, and then it started piling on. I don't know why. I could not get that weight to come off. So I contacted Soda, and I said, look, I need to lose between 20 and 30 pounds. They said, sign up, and so I did. There's no pills, there's no injections, it's just food. I have a nutritionist who helps me, and I told her, look, I can't even wear some of the suits I used to wear. Well, after the first week, I lost 8 pounds. After the second week, I'd lost over 10 pounds. I'm starting to be able to put some of my suits on. I'm starting to be able to put my belt on like I hadn't before. I'm back on the bicycle again. I'm getting outside again, and I'm doing the activities that I did when I was 40 years old. Having my wife join me was great because you can join now and your partner joins for free. That's right, 2 people for the price of 1. SodaDietNutrition.com. It's a great program. It's worked for me. It'll work for you. SOTA, as in state of the art. SodaDietNutrition.com. Soda Weight Loss. Join them for a short time to have results that last a lifetime.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370. 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Lunch was great, but this traffic is awful.
Can we stop at a bathroom?
Are you all right?
I keep having stomach issues after eating, like diarrhea, gas and bloating, abdominal pain, and sometimes oily stools.
Sound familiar? Those stomach issues may actually be a pancreas issue called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. Creon pancrelipase may help manage EPI. Creon is a prescription medicine used to treat people who can't digest food normally because their pancreas doesn't make enough enzymes.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you are allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon. Call 800-633-9110 or visit creoninfo.com to learn more. That's CREONinfo.com.
I'm asking my doctor about EPI and if Creon could help.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big with construction loans at UCCU. Here's Ricky Meese.
Back to a crash-free drive on all the Valley freeways. Good speeds as well. And the final cleanup of a crash in Weber County, a surface street crash northbound Wall Avenue at 36th Street in Ogden. It had been blocking north and southbound inside lanes, but they are working to open up all lanes of travel now. At Olson's Greenhouse, gardening brings families together. Hands in the soil, time well spent. Add fresh flowers to porches, patios, beds, or containers. Learn more at OGG.com. OGG.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Temperatures are going to sit in the 60s and 70s this week until Saturday when they finally break 80, all culminating to a searing high of 87 on Monday with sun all day. Right now, though, it's 57 degrees and fair downtown. I'm Cameron Elliott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at KSLNewsRadio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
The investigation into a deadly shooting at a San Diego mosque continues today, and one of the suspect's mothers is speaking out about her son's mental health. This part really got me, too. One security guard was killed in the shooting, trying to protect other people, and it appears the suspects then turned the guns on themselves after the attack.
And that security guard, Holly, was the father of 8.
Yeah.
And one of the suspected shooters was just 17 years old.
Yeah, that's wild and sad to me. So we have with us Greg Rogers, retired FBI agent and criminal justice instructor down at UVU. Thanks for joining us this morning, Greg.
You bet.
Greg, we hear these things a lot, and you worked, of course, in this arena for a long time with the FBI. What is your initial reaction when you hear something like this at a San Diego mosque? I mean, there has to have been some inappropriate, well, whatever you're doing is inappropriate, but some motive behind the fact that it was a mosque.
Yeah, no, I'm always most interested when I hear these types of cases is what motivated these young men to act and to pick that particular target. And unfortunately, we're seeing so much of this lately with platforms like Discord, where young men are becoming sort of self-radicalized and getting on these types of platforms and talking to people who agree with them. They're sort of enabling. And then they, I think, well, I don't think, I can assure you that we're doing, the FBI and state and local law enforcement there are doing exhaustive searches of those two individuals, media, laptops, phones, everything else, to see what platforms they were on, who they were talking to, who else knew about this. And it's going to be very interesting to see why they chose this particular target and what sort of enhanced their motivation.
So my question is, both of these suspects are dead, self-inflicted gunshot wounds. I think their age is remarkable. Is that uncommon to have a 17 and 18-year-old go on a...
It's sadly becoming more common. We've had some pretty famous cases with, and I shouldn't say famous, I should say notorious, really, with pretty young people in the last decade. You know, we had Dylan Roof in the Charleston church shooting where he went into the the African Methodist church there and killed 9 people. I think he was only 20 or 21. The Boston Marathon bombings, one of those boys was 19, one of the Tsarnaev brothers. DC sniper case, Lee Boyd Malvo was only 17. So it's unfortunately becoming more common. The shootings in Austin last week were, those boys were 15, 16, and 17. So it's becoming tragically more common.
Greg, when you and I have been involved in incidents of people going on the internet and perhaps looking at something like child pornography, and I use this for an example, somehow that information is conveyed to agents through the provider, and they're able to go and intervene. They're able to do something and stop these people. Do you see a day, or maybe we're close to the day, when we can look at similar things when kids are looking at, I don't know what got these kids down this road. Is there some way, and I know I'm all bouncing all over here, Greg, but where the FBI or others can look at and find out that people are looking at these sites and maybe try to stop these things before they happen?
We're working on that. It's unfortunately a little more difficult. Thankfully, most of the platforms that people use, if they're in the cases that you mentioned about child pornography, most of the platforms are ready, willing, and able to report those things to law enforcement. Sadly, platforms like Discord and others are encrypted, and they take pride in the fact that they can hide these things from law enforcement, so they're not cooperating with us. So as you well know, we can only get into those when we're oftentimes a common way we get in is we arrest somebody, we get them to cooperate with us, they give us their passcodes, and we can get in and pretend we're them. But it's right now, it's it's still difficult. We need court orders. We need other things because those platforms are not cooperating with us and they're not reporting what's on there because that's why they exist. They exist so that their users can have these types of conversations. And, in the Tyler Robinson case here, he was using Discord and, it's come out that he was having, open conversations basically on there about what his intentions were. And, they of course didn't report those to law enforcement. That's, we're a ways away from getting those platforms to cooperate with us right now.
I will have a question about the investigation. So I'm seeing national news reports that they're investigating the attack as a hate crime. Makes sense to me. But the two suspects are dead. And so how do you investigate something as a hate crime when there's nothing that's going to come of it because the two suspects are dead?
Well, they're going to investigate it as that because that's what it was. But also, we don't know yet. We're going to find out who all else knew about this. And there may be situations where there are individuals who there's a very interesting federal statute that Greg is, of course, very familiar with called misprision of a felony. And some of these folks may have known well that they were about to carry out these acts and they didn't report it. So this case is far from over yet. And, it's going to be used as a educational opportunity too, to find out what they were doing online. And, but also there may be other people who knew about this and should have reported it. The good news in this case is that the mother actually did, which is, I always say in these cases, wow, I can't believe, because when you find out all the information, the things that these guys were saying online, your first question is always, why didn't somebody call somebody about this? But in this case, thankfully, somebody did. The mom did the right thing. I think she did the best she could do.
Thanks, Greg. That was Greg Rogers, retired FBI agent and criminal justice instructor at Utah Valley University. He's always very, very helpful to us and has been a resource to a lot of us in the criminal justice system for a long time. When we come back on Inside Sources, you probably heard the Bee Gees' Staying Alive. It's actually the perfect speed for CPR. When I teach CPR, I play this song, and this is how fast you do your chest compressions. We're going to talk about that when we come back. Stay with us.
Can we talk about something difficult to discuss? Are you going through a difficult financial time? You have equity in your home, but nobody can help? American Home Loans has created the Bridge Loan Program to use your equity regardless of your credit at this time. The bridge loan can be used to pay debts, collections, IRS liens, divorce settlements, or home improvements. Call at 801-262-2221. That's 262-2221. This loan creates a bridge between now and a much brighter future. After COVID, one of their clients had over $85,000 in credit cards. Their scores were too low to borrow on their home. American Home Loans was able to save them $2,000 a month. And after 8 months, they qualified for a conventional loan and lowered their payments. The consultation is free and confidential. Please call them and see what they can do for you. The number is 801-262-2221. It's 262-2221, or go to AmericanHomeLoans.com. AmericanHomeLoans.com. NMLS 245422, Equal Housing Lender.
You trust us for news and information in your car. Now trust us at home. KSL News Radio has you covered, keeping you informed on the latest breaking news, weather, traffic, sports, and more. Listen on your Amazon Echo or Google Home device. Just say, Alexa, open KSL News Radio, or listen on the KSL News Radio Listen app. Text the word app to 57500. KSL News Radio. We have you covered.
Serenity now! Serenity now!
Are you okay?
Okay. Gas is up. Groceries are up. Everything up, up, up.
Not at Strong Volkswagen.
Strong Volkswagen.
Yeah, purchase any vehicle with a dime. One dime down.
What is the deal with dimes?
One time down. Plus, oil changes at just $59.95 at Strong Volkswagen.
Just $59.95?
Or lease a new 2026 Jetta S. Just $235 a month. $235.
Fun fact, new Jetta get up to 42 mpg.
Even new all-wheel drive Atlas. Just $432 a month. $432.
And you get a lifetime warranty. Lifetime. But my own mother won't loan me money.
You're not getting the money! It's okay. If you got a job and a dime, you ride, mister.
This is great. I'm back, baby, during Volkswagen Driver Days.
At Strong Volkswagen. For over 70 years, Strong Volkswagen.
Located downtown.
StrongVW.com.
StrongVW.com.
This is Derek Miller, speaking on business. Launched in 2021, the Center for Economic Opportunity and Belonging is a Utah-based nonprofit with a goal for everyone in Utah to thrive and belong. By building partnerships and connecting people to resources, they expand opportunities statewide. President and CEO Z Min Sao joins us with more.
At the Center for Economic Opportunity and Belonging, we engage communities and build public, private, and philanthropic partnerships to address opportunity gaps across the state. We convene and navigate the complex ecosystems needed to build economically strong, connected communities. This work brings people together across differences to co-create solutions that address shared challenges. A key strength of our work is the ability to engage stakeholders with diverse perspectives. We recognize the most pressing challenges requires collaboration across divides, and we are committed to bridging differences as a central focus of our work. We are currently partnering on a statewide campaign to ignite Utah's greatest asset, bringing Utahns together around shared values and advancing a movement to develop solutions that answers a central question. How might we continue to lead by working collectively and acting compassionately? Together, we are building the Utah we believe in.
By expanding opportunity, supporting communities, and building strong partnerships, the Center for Economic Opportunity and Belonging is helping create a more connected and resilient Utah. Visit belonginutah.org. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
Any Hour Services can help unclog any drain in your house, whether you have a backup, a clog, or a slow drain you want fixed. Call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Are you thinking about buying medicine online? A search for online pharmacies yields more than 20 million results. But which ones can you trust? Medicines bought from unlicensed online pharmacies can be dangerous. You may get a fake drug, your condition may get worse, or you may experience a bad reaction. Don't put your health at risk. To learn how to find an online pharmacy that's safe and legal, visit fda.gov/BeSafeRx. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Inside Sources.
Your sound up so people can actually hear you talk. You can actually have 911 dispatch can walk you through CPR with their chatbot. Well, let me start over because I didn't have my sound on, so nobody heard me, and I wasn't making sense anyway. ChatGPT can actually walk you through CPR now, just like your 911 dispatcher. The data says most of the time it does a better job than the human 911 dispatcher.
So let me actually add even more context. So ChatGPT can do it, but this was a story that I found so fascinating. It's a good way to use AI. Let's say that, okay? It's a good way to use AI. So scientists were looking at, can you get a chat bot like ChatGPT to coach you through, like if you call 911 and you say, I think they're having a heart attack, they can coach you through doing CPR even if you're not trained. Only 2%, in fact, of Americans are CPR certified. So this study looked at, how accurate were they? And ChatGPT did okay, but they weren't 100%. So they created a new open AI, which is just, anybody can get to it, open source AI, that they call Chat CPR. And guess how often they performed better than human dispatchers?
Never.
100% of the time.
Oh, you're kidding me.
They were always better at giving instructions, which is really interesting to me, right? It's really interesting. And I'm not sure why, but they really are looking at this and saying, look, maybe this is because like you take the emotion out of it, right? Or whatever it is, but you can get really good input from a chat CPR when you call and say, oh my gosh, I think this person's having a heart attack. Well, even just here locally, do you remember just like a week ago today, there was an attorney in Weber County who collapsed mid-court hearing. And the other attorney jumped over and started doing CPR and said, "I learned this in the Boy Scouts."
Yeah. And it is, I've done CPR, I performed CPR twice in my life, both times related to my role as a ski patroller. Neither time were we able to save the person's life, but we did get in there and perform it. It's not like when you practice on the resuscitation.
On the dummies,
yeah. Right.
So I also have done CPR. I'm also CPR certified. And my daughter who teaches, she's CPR certified, right? You need to be able to know these things. I was surprised that only 2% are CPR certified because so many heart attacks, for example, happen outside the hospital, right? And then the survival rate is like 9%.
Right. And it's also easy to get CPR certified. I mean, it seems like employers are always having little seminars and maybe CPR certified is not CPR currently certified, because I think a lot of people learn it. And it is important for our work as EMTs and patrollers. We have to be recertified every year. So we practice it every year. And it does change. Sometimes it's 15 compressions to one breath, and sometimes it's 30 to 2. And when you're dealing with kids, it's sometimes different.
Right.
Right now, we try to keep it fairly consistent, though.
Which is why you have the Staying Alive sound clip, right? Because you can do it to that rhythm. I think it's interesting. Of course, they're saying, look, this does not replace healthcare providers. This does not replace trained medical professionals. But this study, which was done at the University of California, San Diego, and just published in JAMA, the Journal of American Medical Association, what they did when I was telling you 100% is they were listening. They actually did 911 calls, real life 911 calls. And then when they were looking at how dispatchers responded, the dispatchers met 85% of the basic CPR guidelines and 63% of advanced CPR steps, while chat CPR met 100% of the basic ones and 99% of the advanced CPR steps.
Well, there you go.
There you go. Some good news.
Just keep the beat up. Keep it up.
Some good news about artificial intelligence.
Right. Staying alive.
Oh, okay. Gosh, I do have some fun facts for the day. So today is May 19th. I had to look. I had to remind myself what day it was today. And today it is, gosh, I just lost it. What is today? It is National Plant, it's Plant-to-Plant Day. Plant something day. Okay, plant something day. Although I might say with the cold weather, maybe wait a day or two. So on this day in 1536, do you remember Henry VIII? He was not a nice guy. He kept beheading his wives. It was on this day that Anne Boleyn was beheaded. She was married to him for 3 years, did not produce a male heir, and so he chopped her head off, and then he married his third wife, Jane Seymour, 11 days later. Boo for Henry VIII.
What a horrible man.
He really was. So on this day in 1864, President Lincoln proposed equal treatment of soldiers' dependents regardless of race. Yay for President Lincoln.
Yeah, he was so far ahead of his time.
He really was.
And it's no surprise at all that he does something like that as well as everything else you hear about.
Yeah. So it was on this day in 1916, and this had to do with World War I, but it was really interesting, and I learned about this when I was studying international relations. But Britain and France got together and they had what they called the Sykes-Picot Agreement, because those are the names of the two primary negotiators. But they decided that they were going to divide lands that were under the rule of the Ottoman Empire into British and French spheres of influence. What I'm saying is people not involved, well, they were involved in the conflict, but the people who were impacted by this decision, they didn't get to weigh in. It was just Britain and France saying, well, you get that part and I get this part.
I'm trying to think of who got what part. I'm trying to think of French or British colonies from the Ottoman Empire. I mean, I suppose you could find it easy enough, but the Arab lands that ended up into one of those two countries' spheres.
Yeah, it's you've got these arbitrary borders, right? Which is one of the issues. It's just like, oh, okay, so Turkish, it divided up Syria, Iraq, Lebanon, and Palestine, and also Turkey as well. And they didn't have the third group represented there was actually Russia. It was Russia. So Aleppo went to France, and Britain wanted access to India through the Suez Canal, and
right.
So like my point is, and what has always shocked me really is, you know, the saying, "To the victor goes the spoils." But here you have countries that are saying, we're going to divide you up. I mean, this is the epitome of colonialization, right? We're going to divide you up. We don't care what your opinion is. It doesn't matter. It doesn't count because we're the big
and we're gonna
dogs
decide,
in the room, and we're going to decide for you. That's exactly right.
Craziness.
All right. Do you have some closing arguments for us today?
Yeah, I do. And I wanted to harken back to some things we talked about today on the show. And you'll think that these are completely unrelated, but we spent 2 segments talking about boating safety, and we spent 2 segments talking about AI relationships. And it got me thinking, we talked about boating safety in a way that I don't want our listeners to think of boating as being stay away from. They're dangerous. I loved boating. I still talk about it. My kids are still saying, Dad, I wish you still had the boat. We'd come see you more often. And so I want to encourage people to get out, go out and jump in the water. Be safe. Don't drink, but enjoy the outdoors. And don't, because what I'm afraid of is that more people, I didn't want to send the message, and I don't think we did, that, oh, it's dangerous out there. Stay home and visit with your chatbot, your artificial intelligence for the weekend. You know, anything you're doing outside is probably better than anything you're doing inside with your artificial intelligence. And I would say this also, I mean, I would never do that to someone I love. I would never just engage in some sort of a AI relationship, whether you say, well, we have an open relationship or not. That's not open. That's not what that's about. And you know, as a parent and a grandparent, I would hope that I could see and I could talk to my children and grandchildren and say, this is not a healthy way to have a relationship. Like, it's summer, get outside, you know, enjoy the outdoors, and just, I don't know, learning about those AI relationships, and we've talked about them before, but getting into that deeper dive and just seeing the studies, and especially people who are getting involved in AI relationships who are currently in a relationship, like, come on, that's not about loneliness or heartbreak or I can't, you know, I'm not making it. That's somebody who's like, I don't know, looking for something else. I'm digressing a little bit because with the summer coming up and so much going on, we went down to central southern Utah this last weekend. It was beautiful. There's so much to be seen and so much to do. Don't worry about just play it safe and take water and do what you need to do and don't get yourself in a jam and enjoy the weekend that's coming up. I know we're a couple days away from it, but get away from your artificial intelligence. Put it down. Put it down. Thank
you for those closing arguments, Greg. So, look, your next date could be more expensive than you're used to, and Maria Chaleos is going to get some insights into dateflation coming up on Utah's Noon News on KSL News Radio.